Shut up and sit down.
Yeah, we'll have to do our best not to interrupt each other or talk over each other.
I don't really want to hear James talk. It's really giving me the same thing.
Okay.
You ready? Countdown.
Okay. Welcome back, everybody, to the Midnight Showing. I'm Dan Connors, and Baylus is back.
Hey, everybody!
And we actually have James with us today, so it's our first three-person episode.
Lol.
And this episode, we just got back from Avengers Endgame.
Why is it called Endgame?
Because it's the end.
I mean,
End of the game.
Yeah,
but
it's the
why
end.
is it the game? Is it a game to
Well,
Thanos?
that's what-
Or
no.
Thanos is...
It's what...
I think Endgame usually kind of refers to, like, you know, the end plan, or, you know, say, like, the end game of your career or something like.
well, and it's exactly...
guess-
what,
I mean, it's your target of, like, where you want to be, like, I don't know, it's the plan.
It's
of
a
the
term
end,
of,
I
like,
guess.
it's
yeah,
the
I
end
guess-
game.
I guess I've never heard it before. So.
Yeah, you say, like, if you're doing any sort of, like, school project, you're like, okay, the end game is that
Or,
we're
like,
going to have...
end game is a
Oh, I
degree.
guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Then, huh.
Well, and, like, Doctor Strange says it in Infinity War. He's like, we're in the end game now. So then they just titled it Endgame.
Yeah,
I mean, using that logic, they could have picked any word that anybody said in it and named that in the movie.
So what'd you think of it
Gosh.
overall? So this is the second time I saw it because I saw it opening night and they couldn't make it. So I've seen it twice. They've seen it once. So what did you think for the first time?
It was, guess there's so much to it, you know. It was great.
Yeah.
I'd say it's easily better. I liked it a lot better than the first,
Infinity War?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I somewhat disagree. Like, the movie is a long movie, and it almost felt kind of disjoint to me. Just the fact that they kind of had, like, a lot of emotional scenes, which isn't bad, but they just felt very disconnected from the plot. It's like they kind of pause the plot and just have emotional stories, and then
Really?
just the extent of how many there was in them, it felt like half the movie was just kind of almost downtime, which, I mean, is important. It adds to the movie, but I feel like they didn't direct it very well, and there's almost like too much of it.
Yeah. So the first thing when I walked out, my first idea was fan service. Like that's all it.
Yeah,
like
they
the
couldn't
whole
cut
first half.
anybody out. Like,
Yeah. It all had to be fan service of like, okay, we got to get everybody in. We got to give everybody the emotional scenes they need, and we have to like wrap it up in a
Really?
nice way. Yeah,
If
I
anything,
didn't.
I
The
thought
first
Infinity
time,
War was like
the
that.
first time I walked out, like last night, my first thought was fan service, and like, well, my first thought was I didn't like it. Like I straight up walked out. I was like, I didn't like that. After the second time, I like it a lot better. The second time, I still like Infinity War better though, because it feels like a full movie. This feels like it's like fan service. You got to throw in like the throwbacks and like reminding people of what they've been through with the whole journey, which is totally fine for this type of movie. Like it is the end, and you have to like bring everybody back on this long ride, and it's the end. But like in terms of full movie, I thought Infinity War was a better like wrapped package.
I don't know. There was so much time spent. There's so much time spent in Infinity War. There's so much time spent in just like building up these characters, building up this story. Seeing every one of these characters be introduced in a way that they will fit into the end piece, right? Because we knew going into it was a 2-part film, and which is surprising because they're both mega long, which is
when you have like 2,000 main characters,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
kind of
you got a lot of time.
Yeah.
Now, I'll admit that the action was a lot more interesting in Infinity War. Infinity War, you can't beat Infinity War for the action scenes.
I'm the opposite.
Really?
I thought the full all-out battle scene was way better in this one.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Once Thanos comes and blows up the Avengers HQ thing, and then they start like the three of them, Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man start the fight with Thanos. From that point on until like the end, I thought was like perfect almost.
They just fight with Thanos more.
Yeah, but the actual like choreography and interesting, like how interesting the actual fight is. Infinity War was mostly just like let's fight the bugs that Thanos has.
Yeah.
Yeah, is emphasis on like the army battle, and then they had a little scrap at the end with Thanos where they all just got beaten up. So I felt like the Endgame had a better like battle scene, and it just kind of incorporated everybody into it. But I don't know.
Well, I guess I'm just the opposite of the
Well, yeah, but that's what's interesting.
But I
about it.
also liked it worse just from like the plot perspective, like I mean, directive just scenery.
Wait,
I think
this one?
Aesthetically, I think Endgame was just way better to watch. Except from like a plot perspective, I think it's almost kind of dumb that they didn't just hard stomp Thanos, because at the time he didn't have the Infinity Stones, and you know when they killed him the first time, or killed the Thanos from their timeline, you know they
at the garden.
pretty much just destroyed him with like 5 guys.
Yeah, but he was
Yeah.
weakened.
I mean that is true, but I mean it shows he's a massive step down without the Infinity Stones,
That's true.
obviously. And so at the time, you know, he just had his base army that they fought in the original, or I guess
The first Avengers
the
movie.
first Avengers movie. So he had the same army, but when you go and look at what they had the same army. They had the Wakandans, and then they started like they had like the I haven't watched.
Ant-Man was the difference in that film.
Yeah, I mean
He was
they
huge.
literally had more. They had more Avengers there, not to mention Captain Marvel, but they also just had straight up more armies. Like they had the Asgardians, they had
Yeah.
like the
Wakandans. They had the
I don't know what you call the monk caster guys. Like I didn't watch that movie.
yeah,
But-
Doctor Strange like
So
buddies.
they literally had tons of armies. This like way outnumbered guy, and he had a lower power level.
That's what. Yeah,
And so they should just hard stomp him. He never even should have had the opportunity
Yeah.
to lay his hands on the Infinity Edge, especially because Captain Marvel was there.
Infinity Gauntlet, actually.
well, technically
But
the gauntlet.
He
was
shouldn't
the
have
first
touched
one.
anything. He should
Yeah.
have just been like hard stomped out of there.
That was my
because-
first thought too, because he had like this cool double-bladed weapon, whatever, perfectly balanced man. But like, there was some parts where it was just like, why is he so overpowered? Like, more like you're saying, more so than when he had the stones. When he had the stones, he kind of just like was doing his thing or whatever. And this one, he actually just like whooped ass, like totally. He was like
Yeah.
almost
Well,
indestructible.
Well,
And-
but the way I see it is like in the movies we see that the only in what was the end the Thor Ragnarok, right,
Yeah.
when he's beating the shit out of, or I guess it's the beginning of Infinity War.
Yeah, it's the
where we
beginning of
see-
Infinity War.
where we see him just beat the shit out of Hulk, right? You know, he only has one stone at that time.
Yeah, but
which
that's
is
just-
the power one, right?
But that just shows he's strong. Like,
yeah.
he's a big alien dude. He can beat up Hulk. But this was like, he was taking on all the Avengers and like soaking up blasts from Iron Man, like the energy blast. That was the one that stood out to me, was when he was twisting the thing and like deflecting the energy beams. You know?
Yeah,
It's
that was
like,
ridiculous.
yeah, it was like, wait a minute. Like,
that was so stupid. That pissed me off.
Yeah.
so much.
I mean, so that stuff like, I mean, that doesn't bother me as much just because there's so much like fantasy element where
Yeah.
it's it's made up laser beams. You don't really know the science behind how they work, and then like literally the material of his weapon, like there could have been technology in it. Like I don't know, stuff like that doesn't bother me as much because you're not really expected to understand how his like armor and his weapon and his and on either of them. Like it's so, but I mean, on the same note, like the thing that got to me for nitpicking the fight is when, it got to the point where Thanos literally like broke the shield in half
Oh, yeah,
of
Captain
Captain
America's
America.
yeah.
And like I was looking at it afterwards and seeing, it almost has some kind of like leather looking strap. So I don't know how vibranium works, but unless it like completely absorbs all shock whatsoever, yeah, he's a ripped superhuman. But I mean, that's literally the hardest material ever.
So it
In
should
the-
crush
in the
and
universe.
he literally hacked little bits of it
Yeah.
off, so it literally would have just turned his arm to dust. And so, if anything, that's what I'd be nitpicking is
the
that
physics of vibranium.
yeah. So unless so I don't know the lore of
Well,
vibranium,
maybe
but
it
unless
was
it
shock,
specifies.
it was designed to be shock
Oh,
absorbent
God.
through the rest of the
That's why.
metal.
It's like a.
But I mean, if it's that OP, like all the Wakandans, all their armor, all their weapons, all their
Well,
spaceships are made out of it. So if metal's that OP on just a little shield that's not really like technology induced, then the Wakandans seems like they should be like way more OP, and
They
that
are
like
well, Black Panther is.
Yeah.
Black Panther's absolutely busted.
yeah. But I mean, if just the metal is that good,
Yeah.
and all of them like they're a warrior society, it seems like if the metal was just that good, they wouldn't have lost the first time. Like honestly, so I don't know. His arm seems like it should have just been dust to me.
But he's
Wait,
Captain America.
can we-
Ooh.
Yeah.
Can we appreciate the fact that so when since we're on this whole end battle scene, right? When they're taking the gauntlet, which we just skipped the rest of the movie entirely.
We'll get there. Yeah, we'll get
Yeah.
We'll backtrack.
But
We just saw it, so it's the climax.
Yeah.
You know?
So we're sitting there and we have to get this gauntlet, right? Or the Avengers have to get the gauntlet all the way to this ragtag truck in the middle of the enemy lines, right? Why not just again? It's this thing why not just have Tony Stark equip it at the start
Because he would have.
and just snap and then
Because he would have died.
well
That's
he
the
would
whole
have
freaking
died. But
point.
it's we've been over this. If Thanos gets the thing, everyone.
Yeah,
dies.
but they don't want. They're trying to do everything to save everybody.
But losing two people to defeat Thanos, those are pretty good odds.
Yeah, but hypothetically, that plan would work perfectly. Like, she just flies right into the time machine thing or whatever.
Wait, who?
I mean, I think the
Captain
only,
Marvel. Like, when she was flying
when she
towards
wanted
it.
to fly the gauntlet back in
Yeah.
the past, but you blew it up.
Okay, I didn't quite follow what you're talking about on some of that, but
What I'm talking about is when they realized that they had to get the stones away from Thanos.
Oh, yeah.
When they had put it inside of the...
just give it to the OP person that can literally just get it out of there.
Yeah.
Dude,
right.
she's so busted.
I know. So
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
and honestly, I was thinking while watching the movie, even like there wasn't really any deadline of when they needed to start their time traveling thing. So they could have done a lot more preparation. Like Thor could have gotten in shape. They could have
Yeah.
just
Dude,
they
oh
could have
my
just
god.
called. They could have just
Seriously.
called Captain Marvel and be like, "Hey, we got an important mission. Just let's use you."
Yeah.
And honestly, they had it. You know, they're limited by the number of doses.
Oh,
they could have sent.
the Pym particles.
Yeah, they could have literally sent the OP people, the same OP people on every mission instead of splitting it up. Like,
Yeah.
like
It's true. Wait, what?
yeah. So especially if they're gonna repair it all at the end anyways, it didn't matter
Yeah.
how messed up they made the storyline. So like, honestly, they could have just sent Captain Marvel once, just to
Yeah.
beat up Thanos the
Yeah,
original
okay,
time.
but
and
it's also that's the same
That's not
argument.
as cool.
It's the same argument of why didn't the hobbits just fly on the eagles to drop the
I
ring into
know,
Mordor?
but I mean,
it's
someone's gonna bring up that argument. Like, it needs to be made, even if it's not like a good end all discussion.
Yeah.
But
it's the same
The
thing.
movie would have
and
been a
then
lot
they
shorter.
weren't. They
Yeah.
obviously weren't limited by the number of doses. They went back to the guy's lab. I don't know. To me, that
Wait.
would have been one of the first things I thought. And they could have even just got his freaking recipe and like made more of it.
Or just
Which-
took him
what
from
if-
Yeah.
the past.
What if they couldn't have sent Captain Marvel? Like there was something so OP about her that she could not be sent back in time because we never saw her.
Okay.
actually
Then
back
then
in
they cut out the weaklings and send like get Thor in shape and send him and
Dude,
like
okay,
the Hulk and
Thor-
like you know the like S tier
Yeah,
heroes.
the
Oh
S
my
tier.
God.
Yeah, like the
Not
alpha.
Like-
Hawkeye.
yeah.
Wait, okay, Hawkeye like kicked ass in this movie.
Yeah, I was almost
Like
surprised.
I
Hawkeye.
loved Hawkeye in this movie.
yeah.
In the first like couple, it was always a meme that he was just like bottom tier, like he's useless with his arrows. He was like crazy cool in this one. To me, he was so badass.
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of it, I wouldn't necessarily rate like his power level higher, but he's just put in those situations and he
Where
performed
he
well.
excelled,
Yeah. So I mean, he got his screen time and he like kicked ass
Yeah.
on screen time, but I wouldn't say his power level is very
No,
high.
but he
compared
I
to,
definitely-
also don't
yeah.
want to see any more
He
screen
definitely
time.
Yeah.
got cooler though.
Yeah, and I
Like
agree.
the kind of story progression of his arc and everything with the family, especially, like he definitely got cooler of a character. That's not good grammar, but he's a better character.
He
from
got more cool.
But yeah, like another character was Thor. Like we're talking about it already. I hated everything about Thor in this movie. I hated it.
Well,
Okay,
that's
like-
what the point of him is.
I
do it,
hated
and
it.
I think they needed to do something to just massively nerf Thor because
He was OP.
obviously,
at
yeah,
the end of Infinity War, he was broken.
Yeah.
they kind of he was stronger than Thanos. He just missed his opportunity, and then they couldn't really just have him make a mistake like that again.
Yeah.
So if he had the determination, like if he had a second chance and he messed up and he had the determination, I feel like
And
they'd be doing a
in-
disservice to Thor. Not that they didn't do a
they did a
disservice,
huge disservice.
but
to
I
him.
mean, I don't think they could take Thor in his prime and just make him lose again after he's that determined. So I think just
Yeah.
the massive like
I agree
depression
entirely.
nerf.
Yeah.
I
It's the only thing that would have made sense for this.
Well,
I
I
don't
didn't-
think it's the best thing, but they need to do something to nerf him. I don't know if beer
Well-
like is bad. Like, I don't know if that's the best way to do
Well,
it, but he did.
It made sense to me, but I hated that it lasted the whole movie.
Like,
yeah, they're
yeah.
just
Like-
so soft.
Yeah,
and
I was
It was-
expecting something to happen and be like ripped.
I
again.
thought at least once he talked to his mom, something would happen.
yeah.
But like they just kept the joke going the whole movie, and then when I was watching it the first time, I was like, oh well, they're gonna say something where it's like, oh, his lightning powers can't change his physical appearance. But then when he summons the two like weapons,
Yeah.
his beard changes and he's got a new hair thing. Like, and it's like, okay, he
Really?
can change it. Yeah,
didn't notice that.
his beard got braided and then he had a hair like clip in the back.
I didn't
So it's
notice
like-
that.
His physical appearance can change by his power. So it's like, why not just make him ripped again
Yeah.
and badass? And then I thought,
Because no one wants to see him with that beard.
I thought at least he would when at Tony's funeral at the end, he would have shaved and got a
yeah.
haircut. Like at least make
Yeah.
him look like you can still make him fat, whatever, but like
Yeah.
just make him have a nice haircut or something so that he's presentable.
So that it's showing that he's not like
Yeah,
still worthless.
he was still fat. He had the beard and the hair, and he had the fingerless gloves on still for like Tony's funeral.
Well, I
like-
mean,
Those are just in style.
it could have just been a really, I mean, they were grieving, and it could have just been like a very short period of time. Not that's a good excuse, but I mean, it could have literally been like the next day. They just had the funeral.
I just hated that it lasted the whole movie.
So, you know, they're all busy people. They got to be out protecting like the universe. They can't like schedule the funeral way in advance.
It was
so,
just,
it's probably just.
It was funny when you first saw him in the shack, and then I just wanted him to get better.
Yeah, I wanted it. I didn't want to see him fat anymore.
I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
Which is incredible. I mean, can we like they took Chris Hemsworth and made him this fat piece of shit with this
Like,
beer belly.
honestly,
like,
he's the most ripped of all of them.
Yeah.
I was literally just trying to imagine the filming process of, you know, him going through all that work, just staying in shape and being ripped, and then like, here, wear this thing that makes you look fat.
And then Captain America's like, wait, I have to be ripped still on screen. Like, he's like, I put in all this work too. And Jeremy Renner, Hawkeye, like he's had to be ripped the whole time. Yeah, I just hated that it was a running joke for the whole movie. I don't know, like, you know, in the episodes that we've done before, like, I'm not really a fan of running jokes throughout a whole film, but that one bugged the hell out of me.
I definitely agree with that.
It was funny in the shack, and then it should have ended there.
It should have. Honestly,
I
would have liked
Well, but you had a good point about like having to keep him down for some reason.
Yeah.
But like, it just got so stale. Especially the one that stands out is when they're in the time heist meeting, when he's like going on about his movie about Jane and what happened there, and like it's a whole joke that he's like drunk the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Honestly, like the biggest thing to me, like, I mean, it was a funny joke, but just associating Thor with Fortnite, like, honestly, just really damages my image.
God,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I knew that was coming too because this is the second time. So I looked over at you and I was like, it's gonna happen. I saw it coming too, and like the Hulk dab, that was the other one. The Hulk dab didn't bother me.
That one was funny.
Because it was supposed to be he's trying to be cool with the kids.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
And
but like,
and it's like already kind of like 5 years later.
Yeah.
Kids probably aren't still dabbing. You know, like.
Yeah. Like that one like was okay with me because that was kind of like that was their version of in Black Panther when the sister was like, what are those? Like that one is kind of like an old meme that they just kind of threw in there for the kids. The dab was that, but then the Fortnite one, it's just like, and I was talking to Chelsea about this, that I don't like that it now dates Infinity War.
Yeah.
So these movies are going to be around for ages. It's like Lord of the Rings. People are still watching them 10, 15 years later.
Okay.
But it's like,
I mean,
you're going to watch all of these movies in 10 years. Let's say 10 years down the road, we're having a Marvel movie marathon. All like pretty much everything up until now hasn't really been physically like dated like that.
I mean, wait. Are you saying that Fortnite is not going to be played
in 10 years?
Because
that's what I mean. It's going to be this beautiful picture of a movie like Infinity War 2, and then now Endgame, and then it's going to be like, wow, like this is a beautiful CGI and all this stuff. Like I remember feeling this for the first time, and then like Fortnite is going to be there. It's like, oh my god.
I'm not defending Fortnite, but
let's have that on record.
So that's not why I'm making these comments, but
you're devil's advocate.
Yeah, saying that. And normally I'd agree. I don't really like the movies be dated just because it makes that we can watch it at a later date and, you know, feel more connected to it, or make it seems more relevant. But saying that Fortnite dates it when they literally have a timeline when like half the scene changes where it's like literally 2014 and it's been this many years since like they throw the date at you every other scene.
But that's still a year. It's a year that we all lived through and saw those movies for. So, I mean like it dates it, meaning not physically like here's the date. It dates it of like you're seeing something on screen and being like, oh god, like it's like if you watch an old movie and they have like a Motorola Razr, and it's like, oh, like I remember when everybody had Motorola Razrs, and it brings you back to like I'm watching a movie from the 2000s. You know, now it's like in 20 years we're gonna be watching this and be like, god, remember when like Fortnite was the biggest thing on the planet at that time? Which is it's like, I mean, when you really pick it apart, it's just because Disney has a deal with Fortnite. Like, there's Disney character skins in Fortnite, and so their deal was probably like, Fortnite's like, okay, we'll let you have skins in our game and make buttloads of money, but you also have to show our game for like 6 frames in the movie. So it's like, it's some sort of
such a deal.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine that? Can you imagine?
It's some sort of business deal.
All the money from any of these skins that we put in our game, but you have to put into one of the
multi-billion-dollar
movies.
It made $60 million in the first night.
Yeah. That's a fuck ton.
But like, I just, it really bothered me that was even in it. It was in there twice. There's 2 scenes of it where it cut in.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, it was the first joke where it was like, where what's his name, the rock guy, said like he's bullying me, and then it showed it, and then it showed it again.
When he was like sitting there talking.
It's still kind of like the
Yeah.
same scene.
Yeah, it's
No,
still
but I mean
same
like it was. You
There
saw
was
it.
two
It wasn't
instances
just
of
like
it.
it
There were
wasn't.
two
It was there for 2 seconds and then gone, and you just can forget about it. It was there like twice, and like, but at least the gamer talk, you know, where it's like, hey, this guy's bullying me or whatever, and you know, Thor has to like tell the kid off. That doesn't date it nearly as much because that's like been a thing for a long time, and everything. But I feel like physically showing the game really kind of. I don't know if I'm explaining it well,
no,
but it
I
dates.
totally get it, and I
Yeah.
definitely feel. I think we all understand that, but as well, I agree with James. The numbers. I mean, you know, 2012, right? That's the easiest example I can
Yeah,
think of.
and I mean,
That's funny
you could
because-
argue that's going back in time, but they also reference, they're this many years from the future, so they reference their current timeline compared to.
No, we all know what years they're in.
Yeah, but
2014,
it has to
2019.
do with the story at least. That's the thing. It's like the first Avengers movie came out in 2012. We all know that. We all saw it. But like, you're not gonna remember what year Fortnite was popular when you're watching this in 20 years.
Well,
But that-
well,
it's like-
because they put it in.
Yeah, 2019. That's right. Yeah. I don't know. We're arguing about that for too long, but it just bothered me.
No.
I
I'm
did
gonna
not
say
like
on
it.
On the record again, I agree with Daniel. I think that genuinely, I don't like it when I'm distracted by a movie when I'm watching it.
Because it takes you out of it.
Yeah, when you're watching a movie that's older than maybe like 10 years ago, right? And then it dates something, like I don't know, like for instance, the Motorola, Razr, right? But like even something more so, I mean, like kids when they didn't even, because I can still remember the Motorola Razr. That was huge back in like elementary school or something. But like,
Wow, way to date us.
yeah. But like, yeah. When you can't relate to it at all, when you didn't ever play Fortnite, when these kids are growing up, I don't know, like in kids born in 5 years, they won't. If Fortnite's still around in 10 years,
It's not going to be around in 10.
impressed.
There's no way.
But like, these things, it distracts me, and I know that. But I didn't really have a problem with it when I was watching it.
It just annoyed me.
I'd say-
I'm not
Like,
boycotting.
I felt like it made sense though, since he was in this beer shack that he just didn't treat himself well and didn't do anything worth his time. That he was playing Fortnite. It just made me laugh.
I don't know.
So I don't know. I guess something I kind of went into the movie wondering is like how many people are gonna come back alive and what like the like the actual casualties were gonna be.
Oh,
I guess
yeah.
what
Yeah,
did you guys
the
think? What
permanent ones.
about there just being two? Was that more or less than you
It-
expected, or like what were you
I
expecting
knew
going
for
into it?
sure everybody that was snapped was
Yes.
going to come back.
They were gonna come back
Like,
and they
without
were
a
gonna
doubt.
live.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
did you expect two deaths then, or you expected?
Who was the two?
It was Stark
was
and I don't even know the
The
girl's
chick
name.
who died for the Soul Stone.
It was Black Widow. Well, but I mean, it's kind of variable though, because like definitely Stark and definitely Black Widow, but then like technically Captain America, he died.
He's out of the hero scene, or like
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's dead. Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
you don't see him dead.
Well, no,
but it's
no,
like,
I forgot. I
So-
forgot what happened
Yeah,
to Captain America.
but
Yeah,
like
he
the
lived that
ones,
life,
the
yeah.
ones, since we're talking about the snap, like so, everybody came back, like that. That's just a fact, except for Vision and Gamora. Those are the only two that didn't come back.
Yeah.
Which like
Gamora,
that's
Gamora
the green,
died
the
for
green.
me.
I know,
the
but
green
she
guy.
like pseudo came back.
Yeah, but
alternate
but
version.
She had to go
Yeah.
back to her old world, right?
the timeline that we're
No, I
on.
think-
No, she had to go back to her previous dimension because
Oh.
in the scene,
Yeah,
in the end
yeah.
scene, when Thor's
Okay.
on the ship, he's searching for Gamora, and he can't find her.
Okay.
Which I almost think might even imply that they're gonna find her.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Well,
I'm
there's
pretty
definitely
sure that there's if
they-
they make another
they already said they are
Guardians of the
too.
Galaxy,
Which is that leads to it is that Thor is going to be in Guardians 3
which I am
because he's on the ship.
pumped for.
Well, okay. but,
I'm
I mean,
not because I didn't like that.
just a little bit of a side note on that though. Like, if they had to send her back to maintain the timeline, it's not like they can send Thanos and all his armies that they just obliterated back. So
No, okay.
So,
I'm pretty sure there's
okay,
a lot of
I the way I understood it is that the only thing that really mattered for the timeline to be stable is the Infinity Stones went back.
maybe.
So I kind of get the idea that Gamora, I think she'll be back. She'll be in the next movies.
But what I'm saying is that I don't think it'll be. I think he'll be looking because he was searching for Gamora. He was
Yeah.
searching for. He wasn't searching because he saw Gamora and that Gamora didn't know him. So I think he's searching for the Gamora of his timeline.
She's dead.
No, but like I think that's what I'm saying is I don't think she is.
But she is.
But I
But-
don't think
But she is because Black Widow's dead.
Yeah, she died the same
Well,
way.
yeah, no one wants
If
to
you-
save Black Widow.
No, but
though.
if you die from the
But-
Soul Stone, that's what Hawkeye was saying. If you die from the Soul Stone, you're not coming back.
But why would he be searching then for Gamora?
Because he loves her and wants to find her. We'll find out in Guardians 3.
But he knows that she's dead, right? He knows that she's dead from Soul Stone.
But then he saw her, so he's probably like searching of being like, is
So
there a
he's trying to search for
possibility?
that Gamora?
I don't know. He's probably searching for
I think
Gamora.
he knows what the situation is, and I think he knows that Gamora.
I think if anything, it might just have given him false hope to search for nothing.
I think she's coming back in the third movie.
I would be surprised if she didn't.
I think she's gonna be replaced by pseudo Gamora.
No,
from the-
I don't think so.
No, the original's dead.
No,
Like
And
she's gone.
maybe they'll like hit her on the
No.
head and she'll like get some kind of weird memory transfer and it'll be like
Like Nebula when there was
Yeah.
like the memory share thing.
and then they'll just like play out the story like nothing happened but like
yeah, I
She's like, Peter? Like,
or plot twist that was the real Gamora and
Oh
swapped
my
the pseudo
God.
Gamora in for the real Gamora, and that she actually just hates him. and
the
tries to
real
turn him.
Guardians Gamora is definitely not coming back. She died from
I-
the Soul Stone. She's not
unless that
coming
was the
back.
fake one.
Shut up, James.
I believe the Gamora that puts up with Peter or suffers through Peter is gonna come back somehow. They're gonna do it because it's gonna be in the Soul Stone, right? Maybe he gets the Soul Stone, and then her soul is inside of that.
The stones are gone
in their timeline.
because Captain America
but
put
they
them
go
back.
into a different.
So they steal the time.
If they make another movie about time travel,
if they make another movie about time travel, I'm walking out.
that was my main point. Like that's why I hate when I said at the very beginning I didn't like this. It's because of the whole time travel.
Yeah.
Alright,
I did
so-
not like the entire time heist chunk from start to finish. I hated.
Yeah, so I agree because I feel like it's too easy to go through like a big time traveling arc and make it feel not relevant or not impactful to the world. So I kind of figured that they had to have some kind of actual casualties. I mean, obviously they're gonna bring back people that died to the snap, but I feel like a few people were gonna have to die in return because
Yeah.
if everyone just came back, it would literally make the entire two movies feel completely
Like,
meaningless.
yeah, because
Well,
we
and-
just watched.
Yeah,
And I don't know, I kind of figured Tony Stark would die.
yeah. He's
most-
done with Marvel. Like
Yeah.
he
Oh, I
And-
didn't even know that. I just
Yeah.
had heard some stuff like he's being paid way too much, and they can't really.
it's like 300
Yeah,
million
that-
for a movie.
For like,
No way.
That's the last I heard. It was like
Yeah.
300
So-
mil for Infinity.
so
War.
I think
Can
they.
you imagine making that much money.
I know,
And-
like,
Yeah.
for just a movie.
yeah,
I mean, yes, it's hard work, whatever.
it's hard work. They spend a lot of
But,
time.
like,
blah blah blah.
And it's been 10 years. You know,
Well,
he's
he doesn't
portrayed this
have-
character.
he doesn't have to, stay
like
buff like
$300
fucking,
million.
Yeah. So I think they just killed him off so that way they can focus on a new direction for their
Gamora.
movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So they can focus on Gamora.
How to bring Gamora back.
Without all the fans being like, well, where's Tony Stark? Because they don't want to bring him back in the movies because even if he does a short, like, 2-minute
Everybody wants to see
appearance.
another Iron Man.
Yeah, like
That's-
if it's
I
like
don't
the
know
same
about
thing
that.
where he just shows up for 2 minutes for fan service in Spider-Man, they still have to pay him like
Yeah.
$100 million or whatever, and they don't want that for
Yeah.
every movie. So I think they wanted to be done with him. I think he wanted to be done, and
Yeah.
that was like a very fitting death for him.
Yeah, because he started the whole thing with the original Iron Man in 2008. Like, it was
Yeah,
all
that
him.
was the original
you know.
Avengers, right?
Well, it was the first MCU movie was
Yeah.
Iron Man, and which Robert Downey Jr. and Jon Favreau started. Like,
Yeah.
from the very start, it was all them. And that's why it was such a crazy that his last lines were "I am Iron Man," because that's how the first Iron Man cuts. Remember in the press conference?
Yeah.
When he's like, he tells the whole world he's Iron Man, and everybody's like, "Wait, what? You don't just a superhero doesn't just tell people that." And it cut out. So that was a really cool end to end type thing. But yeah, in real life, he's like, I'm done with Marvel. Like, I've been doing this for 10 years. Like, I'm just kind of over it, and I think it's a fitting end to like have this end at Endgame. Because like
When he
they're not
wanted-
gonna.
They were trying to end it at. He was trying to get out in Avengers, right? I thought he was trying to get out in the first Avengers when he carried the nuclear blast.
No, they had like works in progress for them.
Oh really?
He I think he said at the end of like Age of Ultron, he was like getting ready to be done, and they gave him the 3-movie deal of Infinity War, Homecoming, and then Endgame. I think that's what that was. I think it was at the end there he was starting to say he's almost done, and then they were like, "Okay, give us like this 3-movie deal left," because they knew they wanted Stark to be in Homecoming because they didn't want an Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
So they kind of had this whole plan worked out, and they convinced him to kind of stay. As far as I know, I mean, I haven't really kept up with it, but that's just what I've kind of heard and what I would assume happened. Is they're like, just let us finish out this like timeline. You'll make $1 bajillion, and like you'll be done after this.
Yeah.
And it was a really fitting end.
Yeah.
Like really fitting. You know, he started it, he ended it.
Yeah. Which is cool.
I still feel like their casualties were almost too light. Like
I wanted more deaths. Kill off some more people.
But
like,
you can't. Like,
I feel like it kind of pulls at your emotions more and makes you a lot more attached to the movie. Like, yeah, it doesn't make the fans like happy, but they don't necessarily need to leave happy. I think it's like a better viewer experience, and you are more attached to the universe.
Put down Chris. You know, just get rid of him. Before
which one?
Chris.
There's 3 of them.
The fucking Thor.
Thor, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's 3 Chris's.
I don't want to see Thor anymore. After that disgusting display of Fortnite.
Yeah, I never really
reached rock bottom. Stop him right there before he can go any lower.
Well, but that's just like because I follow like real life press stuff. It's like Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans were done. Like they've said for a while, they're just like done portraying it. Chris Hemsworth, Thor, has been like publicly like, I'll just keep doing it as long as you keep giving me movies. He's like publicly said that. He's like, I'm just like, I'll keep going, whatever. And so like that's why he's like gonna keep going.
He's really like the like I mean it'd be hard because that's the thing when you think about these movies or these characters that only one actor has played. For example, Iron Man, right? No one else has played that so far, and it's in like. Can you imagine them trying to reboot that series with somebody else in like maybe 6 years? You know, somebody replacing that, or Thor. You know, or any of these just people who haven't had. I mean, I guess it's really only Spider-Man that has been replaced like that, so that there's been multiple.
And
people.
I feel like honestly.
But that's not in
topic,
like the MCU.
On the topic of reboots, I feel like they kind of took this, which was literally like all the comics and the stories. They were from like pretty much the previous generation, and I feel like they're updating it for a current generation. So I feel like realistically, if they were to do reboots, I feel like it'd literally be like another 20 years before they rebooted these characters. And I think Spider-Man was just the exception because they needed an actor to work with them to be part of the universe.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because Sony was like, they just kept screwing it over. So Marvel was like, let us take the reins and like we'll make this $1 million.
Which the more that I see that this new Spider-Man, I know. I was not a huge fan of Homecoming just because of how it played out and how his origin story. I love him now. I like his character now, and I'm glad that he's out of the realm where he's like, he's not able to stand like against the shit that like he's not even now that he's a part of the Avengers and they're not like, oh, you killed like 20 million people here. How many people?
They were treating him like
like a member of the team.
Yeah, and like I feel like just by the amount he brings to the team and what he contributes, I feel like he does quite a lot more than the other like actual members. Like, yeah.
Come on. He literally found and saved the gauntlet.
Okay.
Like when the place was blown up.
I would say in this movie he earned his place, but like previously to this movie.
Yeah, no, he was useless. I'm not arguing he was useless in previous ones. I'm saying
if you were to judge him based off of his career and not this movie, like he's still kind of
but you could say the same thing about Thor. Thor's first 2 movies were god awful.
But he
was still badass. Like you couldn't. He was still strong in the first movie.
But
his power level was still like
high. Power level was
but there's
still
a bunch of people you could say that about. Mantis in Guardians of the Galaxy is like useless. The girl with the little antenna.
Oh, she is useless.
Yeah, she's useless. Like Drax is technically useless. All of the Guardians are physically useless except for Rocket because he's just super smart.
And Groot. Yeah, but Groot hasn't been strong since
he died.
The original one.
Dude,
yeah.
I mean, he did make the handle for the OP weapon. With
his
arm.
It's a Stormbreaker. So. Yeah.
Which he pulled it. He chopped off his arm to contribute. Like he pulled his.
What has Hawkeye done?
So let's talk about that. So
the Stormbreaker.
The 2, the Mjolnir and Stormbreaker.
Mjolnir.
I always intentionally pronounce the J.
Mjolnir.
Mjolnir.
Yeah.
Like Mjolnir and Stormbreaker.
Yeah.
Which do you like to see more? Like which in the combat scenes in this movie were you like, ooh yeah, I like that? Because there was really only one scene in Infinity War that we saw.
Well, regardless of which one was better, I'm glad he got to wield both at the same time because that's super badass to see. I'm glad they didn't make it just be like,
He can only choose one.
Yeah, or like something like that. Like it made it more interesting. It made him way more interesting to watch fight.
Yeah.
Because he was broken in Infinity War, but having him wield 2 of like the most powerful weapons ever made, like and like battling it and all that stuff, like it was super cool.
I thought that was cool that he picked up when I saw his hand extend. I was like, oh hell yes.
Oh, when he was at Asgard.
Yeah. When he's holding it out, I'm like, oh my goodness, thank God, he's got it back, and I was so ecstatic. But sorry, I need to collect myself here. I'm getting a little excited. when Captain America threw it,
when he caught it for the first time.
No, I think he threw it. He was the one who threw it at Thanos
No, but he's had to summon it first. You're talking about when he got to wield Mjolnir.
Yeah. But like he threw it, and then we saw that yes, he was actually wielding it, and he was pulling it.
He didn't throw it.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't. It hovered off the ground, and then it zoomed to him. Because it hit Thanos in the head, and then it spun around, and then he caught it.
Okay, regardless. Either way, I'll admit I'm wrong.
He summoned Mjolnir and got to wield it. We got to see Captain America wield Mjolnir.
The fact that in the examples that we saw where they're switching weapons, like not only did he get to wield it, but also the fact that they were switching weapons, the dynamics between the two were really fluid, and I felt that really contributed well.
And he not only got to pick it up, he actually channeled the powers.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't just like he picked it, because they teased it in Avengers 1 when he like moved it, remember?
Yeah.
But like he actually got to summon lightning abilities and like destroy Thanos for a little bit.
But it also puts into almost the canon that Mjolnir has the actual ability to judge people, and he's lowered his standards. Maybe he's like, oh wow, Thor's pretty shitty now, right? I mean, look at him. He has a beard belly. He's playing Fortnite. Maybe I'll just go with the next best guy. You know? So he's lowered his ranking.
But it's not like...
I'm joking.
That's
entirely a joke.
Because Thanos can wield it too.
What? No.
Yeah, he can... Well, he's able to hold it and pick it up. He grabs Stormbreaker.
But Stormbreaker doesn't have the same property.
Yeah, it's
Stormbreaker does not have the same property. I'm pretty sure that it's not.
Well, okay. Either way, in the comics, Thanos can hold Mjolnir. I know that. Like Thanos can actually pick up and wield Mjolnir.
Because I was thinking of the scene where he grabs Mjolnir as well, and then it forces Thanos down when he has both of them on it. But maybe that's just double the weight of, you know.
But
I think even referencing the comics is extremely dangerous just because of how many alternate storylines there are. So just saying the comics.
But I mean, like
there's ones where he can, there's ones where he can't.
If you want to comment about how we have just referenced the comics.
Yeah, but all of these movies are based on the comics. So if you can't reference the comics, then it's like, how do you even talk about this?
I think you should talk about this as its own story because, like, the movies are its own story. Because, like, if you look at the comics, there's so many different timelines about different heroes getting power-ups to defeat Thanos. And there's ones where Hulk 1v1s him. There's, like, you know, there's different comic lines.
Sure there's a comic where Ant-Man crawls up Thanos' ass.
Yeah, so that's what I think is just a really bad way to reference this story.
This episode,
That's literally just a meme.
But I don't know. Back to the original question of the preference of the two weapons.
Oh, yeah,
like I agree that like the dual wielding was badass. That was like, you know, a nice addition to the movie. But I think Stormbreaker, or is it Stormbreaker, Stormbringer? Stormbreaker. I think it was just, you know, a lot more exciting to watch than.
Oh, I disagree completely.
Really? I thought you would say that too.
No.
Because I'm on that board. I've never been an axe guy.
Yeah, there's
a clean audio cut for anybody. Yeah, they're just not interesting to watch fight with for me. Like they're so top heavy and having to swing and everything. Like it doesn't.
I can respect a one-handed axe.
I really like the physics of Mjolnir, like especially when he can spin it.
Yeah.
Like when he spins the
looks
thing.
Really.
Badass. Well, and like just it's got more like weight and like impact to it. Like I like the flexibility of the choreography you can have with it. Like when Captain America was holding it, like he did the kind of uppercut with it and then smashed down.
That was really cool. Where he pulled the lightning like out of the ground. It was almost like a tree.
Yeah, because that's how lightning works.
That was so cool.
I mean, I feel like they could have done stuff with Stormbreaker. They just didn't. They just treated it as like a prop.
I feel like it's just a lot more difficult to do with Stormbreaker because you're right. It's the flexibility, right? You know, Stormbreaker's a two-handed weapon with a very large, you know, weight and wield to it, right? Whereas, you know, it's really easy with Mjolnir to be, you know, just very flexible. It's a one-handed weapon. It's light and he throws it around, right?
Yeah.
And I think,
when he bashes the shield with it, that was so cool. When he causes the shockwave, the sound shockwave above Thanos' head.
Or like ricochets off the shield.
Yeah, Captain America
yeah.
throws the shield, and then it
brings
ricochets.
the shield back to him. And
But it also made a shockwave, so Thanos fell
Yeah.
down. That was so cool because you get to see the physics of them interacting.
And it was like, wow, I kind of want Mjolnir to be Captain America.
Yeah, just all the time.
I'm glad that it actually stopped here. It was a great way to sign off, like you said. It was a great way to sign off not only Iron Man but also
Yeah, he got to wield
Also,
Mjolnir.
yeah.
Because
In
they
such
teased
a
us.
baller
They
way.
teased us with it in Avengers 1, where we're like, holy crap, he can pick it up. And then like he finally got to actually like not even like struggle to pick it up in the battle or something, where he's like,
Yeah,
okay,
right?
I got
Yeah,
it. Like he
he
got
just-
to actually summon and use lightning. Yeah.
Oh, God, what? Man, I'm glad that's a good topic. I like the Mjolnir and Stormbreaker. are
Well,
both
we're
really
gonna
cool.
see.
I hope.
We're gonna see Stormbreaker more because Thor still has it.
Yeah, but that's a question because we've talked about that. Does he have to give Mjolnir back?
To what?
It showed at the end. Captain America took it with him through the time machine.
Yeah.
He didn't come back with it.
Yeah,
Well,
it wasn't.
they
with
honestly
Field yet.
didn't really show him come back.
So
They just
maybe,
kind of like
yeah.
found him sitting off onto the side.
Well, it
so I mean, I
exists.
guess if he like hit it off of scene.
Well,
but-
see, And now that's where I'm confused because like I thought originally that everything had to be put back in its place, right?
I think it's only the
and
Infinity
then
Stone.
Yeah.
and then after you said that, I was like, maybe you're right? But then what happens? Well, I guess the only idea was that the other timelines wouldn't have the Infinity Stones, and so they would be able to not fight evil. But here's the question: in the current timeline, they don't have the Infinity Stones; they're gone. So
Yeah, but
Does
that
that mean
that
that-
was their destiny in that timeline. Is that the
so
stones
is
were
that a
gone.
bad
So
thing?
They're
that's
gone?
just something that happened in their timeline. It's not necessarily fragmenting it. I get the idea. So I guess if anything,
From what I understood, not just what she showed, but when she showed that line, it was our current timeline, and where they were in that point was the little circle, and taking one of those stones away led that black one away,
Yeah.
yeah, it would-
which was a
But that was-
parallel drip.
But that was this timeline's past. So she was saying that years ago.
Well, but like at every point in time, a split can emerge. Several different actions can be taken, and each of those actions cause. So what I'm saying is that when anything changed, when they
But-
walked back, when they teleported or when they time traveled back,
Captain America?
all
Or
of
all
them,
of them?
you could make two arguments that they then altered went back into a different time, back to their timeline. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to wrap my mind around
But,
myself.
okay,
So
but he's-
we go back in time to their timeline, but because they entered their timeline, they then caused it to branch from their universe.
so I think I'm fairly certain, and I could be wrong, but the way I understand it, and it makes a lot of sense, and I think
Okay, we'll just go with the simple.
I think they narrated it pretty well that
Okay.
this is how it works in
I'm
the
just an
movies.
idiot.
Is that
We
the
knew that
Infinity
already.
Stones,
Yeah.
the Infinity Stones being transferred from one place into the timeline of the to a future of the timeline fragments it.
But
And-
then as long as you put it
But I think you just kind of going over wherever you want in the timeline. I don't think that does anything because I think it's literally only the Infinity Stones. And I think another good example of this, like the classic like time traveling paradox of
Back
like
to the
if
future.
I was
Bill
thinking
Ted's Exit Adventures.
I was just thinking example
Sorry,
where they say if you go and like kill your grandfather, you're never gonna be born and go time travel.
Yeah, the Back to the
But
Future thing.
you have it where it was it Nebula. She literally kills the past tense of herself.
Yeah.
So she wouldn't be able to exist to kill herself. They literally included paradox, and she still exists. So to me,
So
that proves you only
that
need the
proves
infinity.
that when something changes in the previous dimension, it's a different
But that's what-
alternate reality.
that's what-
No.
No, that's what Hulk was saying when
I,
he was
I
talking
think
to
I think the only,
Ant-Man about it.
I think the only thing that like splits the timeline is Infinity Stones. I think anybody's individual actions
Okay.
do not matter.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so she dies in the past,
Okay. Yeah.
but she
Then
still exists because
she still
she's
exists, yeah. Okay.
yeah.
So if the Infinity Stones are the only ones that matter, and this is because why do the Infinity Stones matter? She said something along the lines of like that they are now without the Infinity Stones to defend themselves from evil, right? That's
Yeah,
what the
the
Infinity Stones
forces
are.
of darkness.
Yeah, that's what the Doctor Strange magic guys are all about, is protecting the universe from evil,
Yeah.
right?
Which I would definitely want to be one of those guys.
I would want to be Captain Marvel. I'd be okay with being that powerful. That'd be pretty cool.
I'd rather be a sorcerer guy. I'd rather not be as
You-
powerful
you-
to be able to do all that stuff.
I guess she'd be.
She's
do you
just-
think she
she-
travels a lot. She probably, since she has to go all
Yeah,
across the universe.
well,
she's
yeah,
probably
because
flying
you
for a
you guys
while.
didn't
The
see
commute's probably
you
pretty
guys didn't
rough.
see her movie. Yeah, like,
Yeah,
but
but
all
I
she
did.
is,
I
all
did.
she what? When did you see it?
I saw it in Boise.
Oh, so you didn't
And
see it with
she-
me.
she
Okay.
did make-
Yeah, she's like literally just a ball of energy though. Like the sorcerer guys get to do sorcery stuff and teleport and like, impact like physics and whatever. But she's just a ball of energy.
But she still has impact. I mean,
Okay.
No, but I'm
well,
saying I would rather be the sorcerer guy who can like do all the cool
I'd rather
magic
be
stuff.
Hawkeye.
Hell yeah.
Be useless and get carried the whole.
But you
movie.
get a badass haircut.
Not really. I don't know. Which, by the way, wasn't it convenient that the two suicidal ones went for the Soul Stone?
I'm
Just skip over that.
like, it actually kind of confused me that they didn't have a plan for the Soul Stone.
To put it back,
'Cause-
because how does they get it back? Where
Oh no, not to put it back,
Oh.
to retrieve it in the first place.
He's
'cause-
saying they should have known that
'cause,
someone had to.
I mean,
die.
they
I don't think that they knew.
Yeah,
First
so-
no, but
because no one knew. No one went up there, but the two of them, Gamora.
no,
and-
but they
But,
knew
I mean,
because
didn't
Thanos came
Nebula-
back
yeah. Well,
without Gamora.
But like,
Oh.
I think the point is that they didn't know that it was a trade.
but I
But-
mean,
but
didn't
that's what-
didn't Nebula? Isn't that why she kind of turned against Thanos?
Yeah.
Because she knew that her sister was killed for the Soul Stone.
Well, I imagine that she knew. She definitely knew that
and if she
Gamora
knew,
was killed, but I don't know if.
oh,
Well,
No,
I
but
guess- I
she.
can't remember. I think in the first movie, she actually does recognize that it was because he needed the Soul Stone.
because it seems like if she knew, there's no reason they wouldn't have known that leaving their meeting before they start.
Well, and
so it's
isn't
like,
that-
why didn't they
Isn't
have
that
a
what
plan?
Black Widow said? Like she was like, "No, the guy's right for sure. Thanos came up here and left without Gamora."
So
So
let's say that
and
that
then-
they didn't know.
So, well, I almost find the argument of, say, if it was different and they went in there knowing that they had to kill someone
Would
off,
they have changed it?
who they would have actually
Yeah.
killed off.
Hawkeye.
They would have probably sent. Yeah, they probably would have sent. Do you think they would have gotten some random guy off the street? That's
Yeah,
not
no,
Joe
no,
Biden.
no, 'cause you
at
have
least
to-
someone you love.
Yeah, it has to
So-
be love.
So what if they sent two guys that didn't even like love each other and were like, this is awkward. We can't
Shit, we gotta go back.
They gotta walk down the mountain.
Which, why wasn't there a talk of an exchange of the rest of her cells? Because she had enough for one more jump, so that would have given them one more jump. So she just died with that.
Yeah, but it
And
wouldn't
it
have
wasn't-
it wouldn't have mattered
It
because
wouldn't have mattered. But my point is that if this is such
your
a
point is you wanted to add 5 minutes extra to the
to
screen
explain
time.
to the
Yeah.
user, wait, you have this extra stuff.
Well,
so that Hawkeye seems
what
like an
confused
asshole.
me most about it, maybe I just don't remember from the other movies. I don't ever remember them loving each other.
Yeah,
Like I don't know if I just
I mean-
didn't remember that, but
I think
Like,
they're just
I don't
playing the idea that
Maybe they have-
Black Widow's hot. So
I think they just
Wait,
had a
no, they
Say-
did have it
like in the first
original
Avengers. See that I don't remember that at all.
They talked about it.
So it
a
was like
little bit.
it was a weird thing where I was like, wait, are they supposed to? Because all they talk about is how much Hawkeye loves his family.
Yeah.
but
and so I was
mean,
like, wait, why is all of a
they,
sudden
they
he in
never
love with
really
her?
define the love that's required. Like it could easily be like
Like,
a
as an
familial
Avenger.
love or like
Yeah, but like
Um,
they played it off like they were flirting the whole movie.
I know, which I kind of recognize that, and I thought it was weird because yeah, like because I mean he was literally going rogue, killing everybody because he lost his family that he actually loved, and so it did seem weird that he was like kind of cheating on it.
Like, okay, let's be straight. Well, he was killing bad guys during this time, right?
Yeah.
So how bad could it have been what he was doing?
Well, they were talking about how gruesome he was murdering people. That's what Rhodey said. He's like you should have seen there was a pile of bodies and like what he did to them. Even I don't want to find him anymore because it was just so like brutally gruesome of like what Clint was doing. Is that he was like
Well,
he was basically a monster going.
I think
around
he was
killing
saying he doesn't want to find him because he doesn't care that he's killing bad guys.
I
No,
know,
I know.
it
It's
was-
definitely what James
was-
or Daniel said.
It was worded as it was so like gruesome because he said he was like it was
Yeah, it
disgusting.
was-
It was a pile of bodies.
like
Like
he doesn't care to find him anymore because
Yeah.
it sounded like he had monster in his voice, and
Which-
that's why she was like, "Please leave."
Which
like, please just-
that's what was weird about it though to me is that he made it sound like so god awful, and like he was gonna be this like insane person, and then
And then he just goes back.
he
to
was
being
just
normal.
he was kind of just chill. He's like, you're not supposed to be here, and then they just like hold hands. So I thought there was gonna be way more of a when they're in Japan and he like kills the guy, and then they just kind of talk it out for a minute.
Oh yeah.
Like he was kind of just totally normal.
and then they just leave the body there.
Well, I mean, like,
guess I don't know.
I'm saying, like,
I'm not saying that.
I thought there would be kind of, like, not maybe, like, a confrontation, like, they'd fight, but I thought it'd be way more of a thing where she has to talk to him into coming back for some reason.
Right, yeah.
Like, because they played it up as he was so, like, insane and, like, going
I think it almost comes down to just the running time. They already had enough, like...
No, I can't take this. I would have just taken another third movie of a 3-hour third movie.
Oh, God, they pull a Hobbit and turn, like, the book into 3 movies.
Well, I mean,
gotta,
where's the book for...
Gotta love the
Infinity
Battle
War?
of 5 Armies.
Yeah.
I mean, the book for Infinity War is just the comics.
No. Yeah, so I guess in the end they just chose like not to address it.
They dress.
Like the elephant in the, like they chose not to bring it up. Like, yeah, we're sending 2 people who probably are gonna end up suiciding. Like they just didn't want to cover the fact that they knew that the Soul Stone required a soul, right? I think that's what it was. That I think that there was a line of reasoning from Infinity War that Nebula knew a soul that.
Yeah,
soul
but
had to be
I
turned
don't
to the
think
Soul Stone.
I don't think the Avengers purposely went. Those 2, Hawkeye and Black Widow, purposely went knowing that they
No,
were
I
going to
don't think
commit
so.
suicide.
But it's just interesting that I think in the canon we can assume that they knew that it required a soul and that they chose not to address that when choosing the teams for this particular stone. Which, how convenient was it that there were 3 stones in one place? Come on.
That's what was cool about it, though, is that you're
It was
supposed.
kind of cool.
That's how that was the tie into the movies of like, wait, like before we even knew about the Infinity Stones, really, like before
Yeah.
Infinity War, that really explained all of them. Like you're like, wait, like that actually works out that there's 3 in one place.
Yeah.
Which. Oh, it was in Loki's staff. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of what the third one was, because it was the time one because they were from New York, then the Tesseract from the fight in Avengers, and then
Which stone is that again?
It's the cube.
Yeah, but what does it represent
that's
again?
the
The memory is the Loki
no,
staff.
Loki staff is the Mind Stone. The Tesseract is
No, the Mind Stone is the one inside of that guy. What's his
Vision.
Vision, yeah, right?
What are all of them? Reality was from Guardians of the Galaxy.
No.
Yeah.
No,
Power was
the purple one, which was from Guardians of the Galaxy. He
No.
opens it up and it starts shooting all that purple shit.
I thought Power was from Asgard.
No, Power was the purple one.
I
'Cause
thought
he grabs
So
it.
Reality was Asgard?
I thought the Tesseract was power.
No. I know the purple one's Power because I know that when they open up that
Okay,
that
just say your
circle-
point, I'll look it up.
But how do you know the purple one didn't come out of the Tesseract?
because I know that it came out of that,
'Cause
that
it's a
circle
blue-
thing
'cause
that
it's a
they got
blue
in Guardians
cube.
of the Galaxy.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a blue cube.
It's a blue cube.
Dude, it could be purple crystal. To blue cube.
Okay, what were we talking about?
We were trying to identify.
We were talking about the New York
Stones.
cubes, and I just wanted to know what the cube was. But yeah, so and then
Why
what was
not?
the third one? What was the third one in New York? There was
It was Mind?
Tesseract staff.
Well, that's
and
what I'm supposed to be
there
looking
no,
at.
no, no. But there was Loki's staff, the Tesseract, and then the third
The
one was-
time one.
Oh yeah, yeah. Which was funny because they went back and they didn't know that Doctor Strange is
Yeah, you're 5 years too early.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is really funny. I liked that aspect.
Yeah.
Because especially because it just shows her power at the time too to like know that he's gonna be her successor.
Right.
You know.
That was, and I liked that because I really liked how because she hadn't met him before, and yet he was talking to her, and he was like he gave him the stone intentionally, and she was like he's meant to be the best of us all. He must have had a reason, which
That was
at that
cool
point-
though.
what?
That was a cool part where
Oh,
she
definitely.
realized like she was going like
Yeah,
she had
yeah.
to make his decision.
And as soon as that came up, which I'm not saying I'm a genius or anything, but I kind of am, is once I saw it, like once I realized that, wait, I had forgotten he had given it to him intentionally. I was like, wait a second, this is the one reality where, we go back and win. Which is really cool. I
Okay,
like
okay,
Easter.
I got it. Sorry. The Space Stone is in the Tesseract.
Okay.
The Mind Stone is in the Scepter, Loki's Scepter, but later in
Oh.
Vision's forehead.
But in Vision's forehead, it's yellow.
I thought the Soul Stones.
No, the Soul Stone was the Soul Stone from
It's
No, I
from
mean,
War
that
Machine.
one-
right?
Let me finish. Mind Stone was in Loki's Scepter and later put in Vision's
Okay.
forehead, which I'm guessing was in Age of Ultron. I don't remember. Power Stone inside the orb and later the Cosmi Rod. The Time Stone inside the Eye of Agamotto, which is the time one.
Green one.
Reality is the Aether from So reality is the Asgard one.
And that's the fluid one.
The fluid one?
Is it red? It's red, right? Yeah. 'Cause-
Reality. Yeah, soul is Vormir. So the Power Stone is the orb from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, just like I said.
Then reality is the Asgard one.
Okay.
Then space was the Tesseract.
I see.
So space was the one.
Where does the Tesseract fit into the world again? What's that from?
That's what Captain America had when he came out of the ice or something.
Well,
Why did he have
I
it
thought
in the ice?
originally it came from Asgard. I thought it was from the Ice Giants, and then they Asgard took it from the Ice Giants.
I'll look it up.
And
Keep
then some
going.
thought somehow, I don't know how it got to
Anyway,
Earth,
I
but
don't
yeah,
even
they
think this is that important. Honestly, we could just leave it. Because honestly, I don't. This is such a long storyline. It's been collected over so many years, but it is really impressive how they built this story out of so many semblances. Where all of a sudden, all these like stones that show up in these places. The Agamotto turns out to be this time stone and all this stuff. It's like really cool. Like it's really awesome.
Yeah, there's almost something that they didn't really touch on that much that I feel like could have a massive societal impact. Was just the literally half of the population, 50% of everybody.
Oh, I disagree completely.
They had.
Yeah, but he hasn't even finished his point.
Well, I know where he's going.
They don't really remember anything as is shown in when Peter Parker comes back.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
The time guy just showed up and told me what to do, and I have no memory. So, all of a sudden, half of your population has no idea what's going on, and the other half is 5 years older than them. So it's literally like
Right?
there's no explanation to half your population whatsoever, and they're all like, what the heck?
Well, that's what happened to Ant-Man, though.
Well, and that's what happened to the population.
Yeah, but I mean that's one person. That's not half of.
Yeah, but Ant-Man figured it out fine.
But my point is that Thanos
I mean, they're gonna figure it out, but it's still gonna like
Thanos was known
change things.
in the world, right? Everyone knew that Thanos was responsible in
After the
population.
snap.
Like even like because we knew that Captain America was sitting in that support group and he mentioned Thanos and everyone knew what he was talking about. I know, but what my point is that.
Oh, you're gonna say once they're back.
Once they're back, it's explained that. Now, I'll agree that they didn't really go over the societal impact of half of these people are now 5 years older, right? And it's like, what would happen there? Like families are split now, where one of their parents came back. And it's
whatever.
I think it's kind of cool because it is a huge.
Well,
thing.
yeah, because I mean, and they kind of touched on it initially. They're like, most governments are not functioning, and you think about everything, like
after 5 years,
literally all of the utilities and every small aspect of the society. And over the course of 5 years, they somehow kind of piece it back together, and they probably start getting things functioning again. And everyone's back, and they're like, they got to revert to instantly. Like, wait, now we have all
That's
these.
Right. Yeah, he went back to high school. Peter Parker went back to high school.
Yeah.
When half of those kids in his class were 5 years older. And then they just instantly are able to say, okay, all the kids who are now 5.
And so the half his class that survived, they moved on, so he's not gonna have that half. And then the other half of his class are the people that were 5 years younger than them, and they're all gonna have PTSD and depression. So half his class is just gonna be super moody and depressed, and then the other half is
half the population is getting that way, right?
So
because we saw from the.
But why do you want to know about the societal
I mean,
impact of this?
That's honestly one of the first things I was thinking after they started explaining that. I was saying it throughout the movie, they pretty much just casually talk about, 150 billion people, they're gone. Oh, they're back. It's like, to me, that's a big deal. They didn't explain.
It's only 3.5 billion, not 150
billion. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
That's only humans, though. They said
they
said over the universe, they said 10 trillion or something like that.
Which is insane.
I just pulled that bad number, but yeah.
Well, because it was all life forms too.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just humans. It was all the birds too, which was all the animals.
That was a really cool shot when Ant-Man's looking at the birds, and then it's
I think it's back.
And then you see him blast backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked Nebula bringing the whole ship back. Instead of just Thanos kind of appearing on the platform, I'm glad it was the whole ship travels through the quantum thing and then just completely decimates the Avengers HQ. It really brought the whole battle aspect of Thanos is gonna destroy them.
So I'd like to talk about a few of these twists. Okay, so notable twist is Nebula being caught in the past, right, and being replaced by fake Nebula. Another one is one of the bigger. when they failed to grab the stone, the Tesseract,
Yeah.
and they had to go back and get more juice and the Tesseract.
Juice.
And more Tesseract, more stones. But like, yeah, that was really cool. That like, I thought those two are the biggest twists. Like when they failed to grab the stone, but mostly I like the Nebula one. What do you guys think of Nebula being caught in
I
the
saw
past?
it coming. She's always been like the weakest link.
Yeah,
And I knew there had to be some sort of like twist to bring
They
Thanos
could not
back.
just go back.
We didn't even talk about Thanos getting killed in the first 10 minutes.
That's true. Yeah,
Like,
it just happens.
And I had a feeling they had to do something to be like, okay, we can't just have like Infinity War again, where like he's a big baddie the whole
Yeah.
time. So it's like, how can we shock the audience within the first 10 minutes to really like kind of get them like,
That's
wait,
true,
what are they
yeah.
gonna do for this movie? And it's to kill their ultimate villain within the first 10 minutes with ease. We were talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
Like they just destroyed him like easily.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and on top of it, they shocked them by having the stones be actually destroyed and not just hidden.
Right.
You know, so I thought it was a really interesting way to kind of tie everybody in to like, okay, gear up. This is gonna be a long movie.
Yeah, because
like,
everyone's thinking to themselves, you know, when we came into this movie, Thanos had the stones. He was chilling in paradise
Yeah.
with these stones. No one would be able to touch him. And then so we're all thinking, well, okay, what are the people gonna do? And then it turns out they go there, and we're thinking they're just gonna die. I mean, because the entirety of the Avengers couldn't stop him. How are this ragtag team gonna stop him? And then in reality, it's like he dies. Yeah, like you said, without really any worry at all, any like fuss. And then it's like 5 years later, and everyone's given up. And it's like, wow, what's the rest of these 3 hours? You know,
Yeah.
like first 10 minutes, I'm already confused
Yeah.
about where this is going, which was really cool. I thought that when Ant-Man came back, I was like, oh well, I already know how they do it, because Ant-Man's just gonna go subparticle and find the little atoms of the fucking Infinity Stones.
like piece it
And-
back
yeah,
together.
and then put him in his own little gauntlet, and then use those. Admittedly, I didn't think about how much screen time that would take, and how that would have been another 20 minutes, and then all of a sudden, bam!
Yeah,
you have
instead of a time heist, they'd just be Ant-Man trying to find,
tiny
atoms.
subatomic particles.
which I said it earlier, I hated the whole time heist part, and it's because it just felt like something they would have used for an Ant-Man movie. Because he's actually like an ex-con, so it's like,
Right.
you know, it's his sort of thing to be like, hey, let's have like a heist movie. And it felt like the ultimate Avengers movie, like the closing of all of this, it was a heist movie. Like,
I think
it bugged me.
it
I didn't
needed-
like
I
it.
mean, they called it a heist, but honestly, it didn't really feel like a heist at all.
They kind of
From-
just steal it out from underneath, like all these people.
But I mean, like the term, like the splitting up and the making
Yeah.
plans
yeah,
and
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know,
Oh, yeah, I guess, yeah.
We're just talking about the
it just
time
bugged
heist,
me.
not like that it was a heist.
And that's what I meant by fan service. It was just a way of like having to go back in the timeline to be like you guys predicted it before, where it's like, what if they just have flashbacks of the old movies? That's when I made
And
that
then,
look,
yeah.
you know, because it actually was. It's just like, hey, like let's show them along the ride of like Captain America first, like the first Captain America movie with Peggy Carter, and it's like the first Avengers when they're fighting in New York, and you know all this stuff where it's like just kind of cycling through what we've been through.
mean,
I
kinda
get
like
it,
'cause
but just it.
especially with the Tesseract, right? Where it was going, how Hydra was gonna get it. That was cool. I like that, and
Yeah.
I like how he walked in and he said, "Trust me."
Yeah,
Hydra,
because they
right?
changed
And it
it
was like
somehow.
it was like whoa.
That was a good way of doing it because they changed it and it showed the progression of the story that we've had. Because in that real scene, they didn't know that was Hydra, but now it shows progression of Captain America like through his
Knowing
story arc, and it's like, oh, I know that these guys are Hydra now, so let me use that to my advantage,
Yeah.
rather than just like showing us like Peggy Carter in an office or something, or
Yeah.
or
'cause I
whatever.
honestly thought he was just
you know.
gonna beat the shit out of those guys. In reality, he just
Yeah,
walks out
I thought they were gonna
read.
redo the elevator scene.
Yeah.
But and then the same thing with I did like the little bit where Captain America versus Captain America. I didn't think I'd like it. Like when I first saw Captain America and I was like, oh, they're gonna fight. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna like this. But then I ended up liking it. I hated
was
the
cool.
I hated the America's ass joke. I hated that.
It was alright. It was
It-
bearable.
I liked it when Tony said it because that's a Tony Stark thing to say.
Yeah.
Where he was like let me tell you, like that
No,
did
that
nothing
was
to you.
Ant-Man.
No,
It
was
was
Ant-Man.
It was
No,
Ant-Man.
Tony Stark-
Tony Stark said
No.
Tony Stark said, "Man, your ass did not look good."
that's what
back
I'm
then in
saying.
that suit."
That's what I'm
And-
saying.
Oh.
Like that was good because that's a
Oh.
Tony Stark thing to
and then,
say.
And then when Ant-Man said, "That's
yeah, that's
America's ass,"
which that was okay, but it was going downhill for me. And then when Captain America said it to himself or about himself, I hated that. Like it just wasn't funny to me because it's like I thought he was gonna say something like, "Wow, Tony was right," or something.
Yeah, that would
Like
be
I thought it was
better.
gonna be something about, "Oh, wow, he's right. It wasn't flattering." I don't. It just it's
I
again.
think that would've been better.
It's recycling a joke again, like the Thor thing.
Well, I wouldn't have minded recycling the joke. Like you said, like I thought he was gonna when you said I thought he was gonna say, yeah, he's right. That would have been funny because then it's like he's recycling the joke that was like.
But it's a tie-in, not a recycling. He said the same joke.
That's true. Same joke, but louder.
Because Ant-Man said, "That's America's ass." Like it's literally the same line.
Yeah.
But if it'd be a tie back if he said Tony was.
I guess it makes me feel not that great about the line just because it seems like something that each of them would have said except for Captain America. I don't feel like that's something that Captain America would have said to himself. Like, oh yeah, that's America's ass. Like what? Captain America's supposed to be out,
I did love the I can do this all day.
Yeah, he's like, I know.
Yeah, because it's just like we all know that's what he says every time, and it's just like so classic of that's what he would have said in 2012 because it's like he was so like still stoic and whatever.
Yeah.
And then to show like how aged Captain America has been to just be like, yeah, I know you're gonna say that. Like, just shut up. Yeah.
It's like,
I thought that one was really funny.
The thing I didn't like about it was that how he undermined himself by talking about that girl, right? Like he mentioned like Jessica's still alive or something like that.
No,
right?
He said Bucky.
Oh, Bucky was his
Bucky's
friend,
still alive. Because in the first Avengers, he thought Bucky was dead.
Oh, yeah.
So he said Bucky's still alive. So he's like, wait, what? And then he like punched him in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah. What distracted him the first time was his compass thing fell out. But then he said Bucky's still alive to distract him.
Which I thought was very clever. How like he just walks out and sees himself, and that was like one of the rules that you can't see yourself, right? Or no, they made fun
he said
of
it
that.
didn't. I liked how they tied it in because he thought Loki. It was Loki.
It was Loki. Yeah.
And they had to sell it because Loki changed it to him when they were moving, at the first time. Where he was like, I don't remember what he said, but he was making fun of him.
Yeah, I don't remember what he said either.
You haven't talked in a bit.
I was just thinking.
Man, this is a good movie. I really like this movie. Wow.
No, I liked it a lot more the second time, and even more now that we're talking about it. But the first time, I was not on board with it.
See, and what you guys mentioned about the whole like soppy kind of a lot of emotion in it. Yeah, I noticed it. I didn't feel it detracted from it. But now that we're talking about it, I'm kind of getting swayed over to that, where I'm like, maybe it wasn't that great because I was into it and I was like it didn't bring me out of it at any point during the story because I mean we're just learning about what happened and that's what would have happened that they would have been sitting and it's like that doesn't make a good movie though just because that's what would have happened doesn't mean that it's a good story to put on theater or I guess in the theater or whatever.
Well, it didn't bring me out of it during the good parts like the Tony parts and the end with Captain America. It was the fan service parts where it was just like when it ties it back into the other movies, like when it was actually emotional. Especially, I get very emotional with Spider-Man just because I love that character so much. Mm-hmm. Like anytime Spider-Man was back with Tony, it was just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Which is crazy how much that for everybody too. Everybody always talks about the Peter and Tony relationship, which is just crazy how well they sold it because that was only one movie of that dynamic. And everybody is so attached to them two together. It's crazy how well they sold that.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah,
it's an interesting...
because it's instantly emotional when you see him come back for the first time, and even in Infinity War when he disappears, it's like we've only seen them together for just a movie for Homecoming.
Yeah,
and then it's just like oh my god, they're like father son type thing.
I think it's genuinely like that male bond because I mean Spider-Man looks up to him so much that he just constantly is basically looking for approval and recognition from
he's
from
like
Tony.
an idol to him.
Yeah, and Tony plays it off pretty well, what I was so glad for and I was so scared as soon as he's walking up Spider-Man to Tony after
he's back,
after he snapped and his face is black, I swear to God I was like don't say it I'm not feeling so good kid or something like that. I was like, this would be the place. Like this would be such a stupid moment to do it, right?
I would have liked that.
I
feel like
it
would have ruined the original moment.
That's true. I could see that.
And it would have ruined the power that this effect had on him.
That he wouldn't
he's
be able
not supposed to be able to wield that, and yet he managed somehow. And I think that the repercussions of it kind of would be good to show that it really messed with his brain to the point that he could barely say anything to his wife. Who was right there watching him die. He all he said really was he just basically looked at her and was able to recognize that she said that it's okay, you can die, and then
That was so sad.
yeah,
Because like the tie-in to that was at the beginning where he's like, I wish I, or should I just like drop this? And she's
Yeah.
like, but will you be able to rest if you drop it?
yeah,
And then the things he finally gets to hear at the end is like, you can rest now.
yeah,
Like that time, I didn't get it with the first time, but after seeing it the second time, when she said it at the fireplace thing, I was like, oh, that was like the last thing they said. Like it was so cool that they tied that back where she was like, it's okay. Like, you know, you did it.
yeah.
We did it. You can relax.
The last little bit of this movie, the emotional scenes in it were kind of hitting me hard.
Honestly, I think by that point I was becoming pretty dumb. To just
Well,
like,
you were
or-
dumb
I
at
mean,
the start of the movie and at the end.
or numb, I guess is the word. I was
There
like,
you go.
numb
Yeah.
to the, just
So a
all
little of both.
like I don't know. They just kind of tried to play on your heartstrings too much, and it just kind of I don't know. I stopped caring for it halfway through the movie because half the movie is just that, and it's like I don't know.
It worked for me mostly for the Iron Man part because it's the whole journey, you know, I saw Iron Man in theaters when it first came out, so it's like the whole thing of it. Yeah, humble brag. But like
flex.
the whole like journey of it, and like he's such a beloved character, and knowing that he's not going to come back, like that part got to me. It was like I've said it before already. It's just the weird fan service before, but the actual emotional parts with like characters dying and being sad that somebody's lost, I liked that. And I liked the pan of going through all the characters, like as they're at the funeral thing. I liked that.
I really liked. In contrast, I really liked when he got to see his father. Tony did. I think that was really cool.
Yeah, I like that scene. I mean, I just feel like they.
It went on for a
Just
long
kinda
time,
had-
that's for sure.
I mean, if anything, I think that was kind of one of the better ones.
The fan service things
Well, I don't know.
or emotional parts.
I guess I'm kind of confused about what you call fan service, just because.
I think he's just using it as a substitute for the
Yeah, 'cause-
emotional parts.
Yeah, I mean, out of like, just the emotional parts, I think that was like one of the better ones. So I feel like a lot of them is pretty much just like, oh, we can't leave this character out, so they need a scene
Yeah.
to show their emotion. And I don't know, I didn't really feel that connected to him, or like, I don't know, it just felt almost
Yeah.
tiresome, or like,
Name a character or a scene that this happened in, because I'm confused
The
about
short
which one.
little bit.
Just what scene in particular made you think, man, this was included because they had to include this character, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, or like that had an emotional tie to it. Because I can understand that.
Well, Peter Quill and Gamora, like that was really quick, and he was like, to him she's dead, and he was like,
Yeah.
I thought I lost you, and then that scene was just over.
So are you saying that you wished it had been longer?
No, I'm saying that's an example of one that
or
they
they
just
were
kind
just
of.
included for
that's
this-
probably not an example I would use.
So that was one of your examples.
I was just saying that's a short one that they
Which one-
threw in an emotional
Which one?
tag to
Like
it.
one that bothered you and one that bothered you. Let's go with that. Did that one bother you, Daniel?
That's what I was saying before. The emotional parts didn't bother me. It was
Okay.
the fan service stuff of like showing off like the first Avengers and walking through like Asgard and stuff. I liked when he was
Mhm.
talking to the mom, but anything before that, because him talking to the mom actually gave some substance to him and his character and the full end plot, and he got Mjolnir and stuff. But like everything before it, it's like, okay, yeah, we get it. You're in Asgard, you know.
And they didn't really have a whole lot of screen time with them in Asgard, except for them trying to plan.
But they were there a long time.
I guess yeah. Then there was that whole thing where he's like, "I'm gonna go get the wine."
Yeah, and
then
like
it's like, "Come on, we gotta get it together." But that was still.
and they
including
had,
his
but
character.
the fan service to me was like you have to throw in Jane Foster from Thor,
Yeah,
like the movies. It's like
like
you gotta throw her
everybody,
in there.
they pretty much just happened. You know, it wasn't part of their plan at all. Like they had the plan. They're going for very specific items at very specific times. Each person just happened to run into like, their dad, their mother, their loved one, like everyone throughout like all the time.
That's true.
It's just very convenient, and it is just supposed to be like, and you know, it's things that weren't meant to be and things that didn't happen. People they didn't get to meet. And then on top of that, you know, they had scenes where it's like they're in therapy and like they're like it,
therapy.
yeah, to be where there's or
Oh, the group session.
Yeah,
And
and I don't know, I feel like they just were almost beating you over the head with just like
how sad this is.
yeah, how sad
It's like
these-
yeah,
it's
I
like
just watched the like if we're
Yeah.
watching this movie together, you know, it's like yeah, I understand it's sad, but
yeah, it's I don't know, I think they just kind of overdid it, and it's just I don't think any scenes were particularly bad. I think it's just there's too many of them. Like is like, I don't know, I get the idea, and then so it's like they've already kind of laid the foundation to like set the tone, and then at that point they just didn't want to leave characters out, so it's like everyone got their own individual scene where they would meet with their lost ones or their and I don't know, it was just too much for me.
And so here's my point of view coming into this movie, because the last movie, Infinity War, I didn't like for this very reason, not the emotional part, but the fact that they included every single person of this, however many big cast it was.
But they included it. They included it by having them like have cool fight scenes.
It felt boring when it was trivialized to that degree, where it's like they have to collect. It felt more like a round 'em up rather than a actually.
This felt way more the round 'em up to me.
It felt like they were kind of almost taking turns. Like I don't know. It was like they had to show everybody, so it was kind of like I don't know. It almost just go like, just this person gets 10 seconds on camera. This person gets 10. And it's like it didn't really feel.
I think they were
really
trying
like
to
naturally choreographed, but it's like they
trying to make
everybody
it seem like it was all happening at once, because they all went back at one time, and it was interesting to zap between.
Yeah, it's just how a movie has to run.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what people have been saying this whole time. From when Avengers first started, they're like, how is everybody going to get a scene? It became really apparent during Civil War, when it was like that was the biggest cast at the time.
Civil War so much.
I loved Civil War.
Civil War,
like
so boring.
But that was the biggest thing. It's like that was the biggest cast like in the movies at the time, and everybody was like, how is everyone going to get screen time? They balanced it pretty well. Then like they had even more characters in Infinity War, and then even more in this one. So it's just like it's just a fault of how the MCU is run, where it's like it's just inevitable that like they're gonna have that many in the end, and they all have to kind of have their little pieces. Which is also the benefit of it, is that now that like the pieces have fallen apart, and in the next Avengers movies or Captain America that they make with Falcon, there's gonna be less. It's like you build up and up and up and up and then down.
You know, now that I think about it, almost every character didn't meet somebody emotionally charged.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
that's why I didn't like the beginning.
Like, you know, because Captain America met that one girl, or saw that one girl.
Peggy.
Iron Man met his dad. Like, the only difference is the only people who didn't were Ant-Man, Gamora, and
Quill.
Nebula.
Oh, and Quill.
Well, I was talking about just specifically in the time heist arc. I mean, that was 3 right there. 3 of the 6 people that went back had meaningful, like.
Well, and then the only one that
Thor and his mom.
Thor and his mom there.
Black Widow and Hawkeye.
5. So 5 of the. I guess it wasn't 6. It was how many people went back? There was.
What?
How many people went back?
Well, Hulk went back too.
Yeah, how many people in total went back?
Hulk, Rocket. You gotta put up your fingers for me. Hulk, Rocket, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Captain America, Nebula, Rhodey, Thor, Iron Man, and Hawkeye.
No, I did Hawkeye already.
So no, didn't I?
You didn't say Thor twice. I was listening for it.
He said Thor, and then I said Thor.
Okay, there was 2 in the Soul Stone.
Okay, let's start over.
There was 2.
okay, we'll start from the top. Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, Hawkeye. That's the original Avengers.
Yep.
Then they added Rocket and Nebula.
And Falcon.
No, Falcon didn't go back.
Yeah,
No. That's Rhodey.
Oh, whatever his name is.
War Machine is his. Yeah. I wasn't even counting on my fingers that time. God.
You counted like 7 or 8. 7 or 8.
Captain America.
Oh my god. Okay.
Iron Man.
So
we're cutting this part out.
The original. No. The original. Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Rocket, Nebula, War Machine.
You just added 2 fingers.
No, I didn't. Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Nebula, and Rocket and War Machine.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
So 9.
So 9. So 5 out of the 9 had meaningful like experiences with somebody that they met in the past, which is a lot.
Actually, Thor had. No, never mind.
Thor almost had 2.
I was gonna say Thor had 2.
He was basically just crying the whole time, so it was really just.
Well, no, I thought he had 2 because I thought he was there when Rocket took the thing from Jane, but he was talking to the mom at the time.
So like just in the time heist part, there was 5 of the 9 characters that went back.
Well, and it was all 5 of the original Avengers. That's the point. Is that all
there
5
were
of the
6 original Avengers. Hulk did not have a meaningful experience in the past. So,
but there's not 6 Avengers.
6 original Avengers went back in the past.
No.
Yes, you counted 6. I watched you count 6. 5
No.
times.
Okay, Tony Stark.
Oh my God.
No, there's 5, isn't there? Tony Stark, Captain America, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Hulk, Thor. That's 6.
6. I said I watched you count it 5 times. Oh my God.
And Loki. Don't forget Loki.
Oh God.
Yeah, but that's what I was trying to say from the beginning. Is that like the whole time basically half of the movie, I did not like at all. It wasn't until Thanos came back with like the real like impacts
Then
of
it
time.
started getting really good.
That's what I mean.
That's when
The
movie
impacts
kicked
of time travel and Thanos finally coming back, which is of course their plan. Like they killed off Thanos from the start. They needed the build up, and then the end was going to be like epic. So I get it, but I mean like I really didn't like the beginning of the whole time heist thing.
Gosh, you know what they should have done? They should have, because the reason why they had the stones destroyed is so that he didn't just wipe their asses when they came to fight him on that planet, because he would have just snapped them too.
On what point? What?
On his
current
paradise
timeline.
planet in the very beginning.
Oh,
The reason he destroyed the stones is so that it would be possible for them to bring people back.
yeah.
Because otherwise
He had a
would
good
just
reason too. He was like, I didn't need him anymore. Like
he
it's
didn't
just
wanna
it's just
elicit
temptation.
Yeah.
It was a good reason. He's like,
Yeah.
I did what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And he also didn't want it to be undone.
Yeah. And he
Yeah.
just wanted to farm his little gooseberries or whatever those were.
Yeah.
Those looked really good. I don't even
Those did.
I don't like a lot of foods, and that looked kind of good.
Those did not.
It looked
Those
like
were the
a-
size of his hand.
It looked
just
like a passion
twice
fruit
your
or
head.
something. That doesn't mean it can't be good. Pumpkins are good. People eat pumpkins all the time. Watermelons. You're
I don't
saying
eat anything-
every
I
big
don't
food.
eat anything that's bigger
You're
than my
saying,
head.
you're saying anything that's big that you can eat is not good. Any big food. You don't like watermelon because it's big? Come on.
Listen, man. Okay, when you keep tripping me up like this, you know.
Dude, he even added salt to it.
What?
Oh yeah, he had a
did.
little spice. I laughed at that for the first time. Just imagining like Thanos in just a t-shirt, like really made me laugh. You know, because he had the armor on the whole time, but then you see him just in just like shorts and a t-shirt. It was really funny to me. Like he like used the stones to snap in a t-shirt for him or something.
Or was he wearing it the whole time? Is that canon?
Oh,
He was wearing
under
it
his armor.
But yeah. Anyway, so like the reason why he destroyed it is so that they could possibly survive this encounter with Thanos. But like, imagine if like, it's gone now. The moment's passed because it was supposed to be a joke that like they just die and they have to raise a whole new the 50% of the world that's left, not America.
I don't know, just like almost another point where it's very much kind of ties into the like why didn't they fly in the ring to Mordor? It's kind of like a shortcut like that. Any future Avengers movies, it's kind of like if there's no repercussions to going back in time and getting the Infinity Stones, why don't they? It's like,
Yeah.
new bad guy, let's go grab those real quick, and if we put them back, it'll be just fine. So we just go snap them, just destroy them, and go put them back in time.
And the hilarious thing is that as long as there's no reason why the Infinity Stones just have to exist in the world, right? So like, if you need them, you just put them back, and you put them back in the gauntlet.
So-
and then before you you have a point in time when the gauntlet exists in the past with all 6, and then you go forward, and then you go back, and then put them all back.
We don't need to get into another time travel argument. Like,
So yeah, at any point they could just go back in time, get all 6
So
Infinity
they just
Stones.
need to figure out how to make more of that serum stuff, and just mass produce it.
well,
just
Hank,
every
but
big-
Pym is still alive. He knows how to make them.
Yeah,
So
'cause they-
there you go,
Yeah.
boom.
bam, infinite snap.
Every time there's a new
That's the only good
universe-ending
thing.
bad guy, you just go snap.
That's
him
the
up.
only good thing to come out of the Ant-Man movies.
So now-
Is Hank Pym
So now
and
we have to-
Evangeline. Though.
Now in canon, every single time anyone is so powerful that it threatens the entire universe, Ant-Man's the first one that they will have to attack. Because Ant-Man's the only one who can go back, right? Ant-Man and the Wasp, I guess.
No.
Why?
Oh wait,
If it-
I'm dumb. Yeah,
yeah.
never mind. I'm dumb.
Anybody with
I'm
that
really
serum.
dumb.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Well, but they need the van, and the van blew up
Well, but they can make the machine again.
No,
because
Make
Tony,
them under-
the-
Tony Stark's dead.
The van blew up, but they still managed to go back in time to put the stuff back.
But
That's
Bruce was taught
yeah,
how to make it.
after the funeral, that when they were putting the stuff back, and Captain America lived out his whole life.
Yeah.
Because the van blew up in the battle, and after
Yeah.
the battle, they had to
Oh,
go
they
return
had that
the
little
Infinity
side
Stones.
pump thing.
So they made a new one from scratch.
Yeah.
Does the original one blew up? The van
Are
blew
you
up.
sure? It might have been preserved.
the van.
Just
With
the only thing that
Thanos'
wasn't it was just this big platform.
That was a funny bit when he's like, "Does anyone see an ugly brown van?" And like, the Valkyrie's like, "Yeah, you're not gonna like where it's parked though."
Yeah. I thought it was awesome that Ant-Man could have shit like on this battle. I just thought it was awesome. Him running around punching those huge like whale-looking things.
Because it was a good defense for those things. Because in the first Avengers, they're like, "How the heck are we even gonna deal with this?" And now you have Giant Man like, punching them around.
And Captain Marvel.
Yeah, Captain Marvel was stupid. She just literally flies through this thing, takes 2 loops through it, and bam, it just goes into the ground.
Well, and that's why she wasn't there. You were saying earlier, like, why didn't they just call her? It's like, she's too broken. You can't... Like, the only reason she didn't destroy Thanos was because he took the Power Stone out of the thumb or whatever, and then blasted her with it, which was a really cool thing.
Yeah.
Because they were like, how are we going to get her off of him?
Yeah.
And, like, it showed his smarts, too, to be like, well, she has the gauntlet. She has the gauntlet, and, like, he had a problem to solve, and he just took one out and then hit her with it. That was really cool.
Yeah.
I liked that. Because, like, other than that, like, and it showed how powerful she was, too, because he, like, hit her, and, like, she just didn't even move.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, damn. Like, she's, like,
It was frustrating.
How broken she was?
Like, I just don't understand why you had to add this character that's so broken. The movie before, Endgame. It's...
What?
I don't know.
Oh, like, her having her own movie.
Like, it's like they didn't make her way back when they didn't know, you could make the argument that early if they had made the movie.
Yeah, like if she just
earlier
been there at the Battle of Wakanda.
Well, my point is that like if they had made the movie way earlier and she was that broken from the beginning, then they had to play her in, right? They had already wrote her in. But like the fact that it came out within the last year, it's like they made this character recently enough that they knew that she was going to be an Endgame.
Yeah.
And that they intentionally like left her so broken that it's a little silly.
What is your point?
My point is that why is she so broken? That's my point.
Because she's just powerful.
I don't know what you see.
And that's why they left her out of the movie, where they're just like, well, we can't just have her destroy Thanos in the first
Just
2 seconds.
Give her the 5-year beer depression.
Yeah.
What if Captain Marvel was the one that the Rock guy was talking to? He was getting flamed like on Fortnite. Thor told off her instead.
And so then she comes to beat Thor up.
I liked that introduction where she's like in the Avengers HQ and she's like being all cocky about it, and Thor kind of like has to stand her down for a second, and then she stands him down. I liked that, where he's just like saying he likes her, and it kind of set the whole plan into motion. I liked it. I heard some people didn't really like it.
I just don't really like her personality. I don't know.
She's very cocky.
I don't like cocky people.
Yeah. Well,
Wow. Okay, are you trying to say something about me right now, Daniel?
Well, yeah, and especially when she took it from Peter, the gauntlet from Peter in the end, she's like not in a rush or anything. She's just like, "Hey, Peter Parker," it's like, "What's up?" kind of thing.
I'm 17.
Is he like 15? I think he's 15 or 16.
Whatever, he's underage.
I mean, he's been somewhere for 5 years in like quantum realm.
God,
like, how do you measure that?
That's another question. Yeah, because biologically he was born so that he's 5 years older. But how are doctors gonna have to check whether
we're not getting back into this. We're not getting back into this.
Legally, he can drink now.
No, because he was dead. He was dusted.
He wasn't
No,
dead, he was just in the quantum realm.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
No, when you're dusted, you're not in the
he's
quantum
dead.
realm.
He's dead.
Okay,
He's
that's
dead. But
Which the physics of that, we were talking about that earlier. The physics of the dusting was really weird because he knew he got dusted.
yeah, right.
Like he was like, and then I turned to dust, and then I woke up and had a headache or whatever.
Yeah,
he knew he got dusted.
And it wasn't just that he knew he just disappeared. It was that he knew he got dusted.
Yeah.
Because it's like he knew like I'm not feeling so good, but how did he know?
I thought he was gonna say like I blacked out or something.
Yeah.
But he was like I turned to dust, and then I woke up back with what's his name, Doctor Strange.
And he told me that it's 5 years later.
That was a cool introduction with the Doctor Strange part where like
Where
he floats down. Well, not even just the
portal.
opening. Well, the opening part. Oh, that was a part that I didn't like. Was Captain America standing up, and you're expecting him, at least me, I was expecting him to be like, I can do this all day, and then make a scene about it, and then try to keep fighting Thanos or something. But I think they ruined the suspense of all the characters coming back by having Falcon have him on the radio. So like let me play it out. To me it should have been he's standing up and like the music's swelling and you're like, wait, what is he gonna do? How is he gonna fight Thanos? Because he just got his ass beat. So it's like, what's
no
gonna
one's
happen?
around. He's
And
no
then
one standing
to
there.
me, it should have been like in the back or like his peripheral or something. You see the little sparkle.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't grow yet. It's just like a little golden sparkle. And then like all the nerds are gonna be like, holy crap, that's Doctor Strange. And then he kind of like gets distracted or something. And then it starts opening and opening. And then you see somebody walk through. I don't know if you want Black Panther or somebody walk
Whoever,
through.
right? Yeah.
But like it ruined it by being like, this is Sam.
I
Like I'm
agree.
on your left. And then it opens. It's like now I know what's
agree.
gonna happen. It should have
Yeah.
just had suspense of like, wait,
Because-
what's this little
because
thing?
that was a hugely cinematic scene. You know, you're sitting there. The armies of Thanos have just
Yeah.
poured out of here. You've got these whales flying, and Thanos is sitting there, almost smiling at him. I'm going to take like pleasure in destroying your planet.
Yeah.
And Captain America's beaten, bloody. No one's around.
The
And
shield's
he's
broken.
Only that was incredibly moving. Seeing there, watching.
And then the
this thing.
music just stops.
And I would have liked to see it. Not so much him saying anything, because I wanted to see this aspect where it's like he's broken. The only reason he's standing is because he can at this point. Because he knows.
Captain America?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because at this point, I mean, he doesn't know really much. That is, like, he doesn't know anything except for what's standing in front of him, which is an army of, you know, Thanos' goons and ghoulies, you know? And I admit it wouldn't be quippy, but I think that at that moment, you know, that's when they try to sell it's over. You know, we lost.
For Captain America?
For the world, right? You know,
Oh,
Thanos
but you're
would've found the
saying like,
glove
yeah, yeah.
and destroyed everyone. And that's when it really starts to sink in, and that's why I agree with you. It shouldn't have put anything in his ear, and it should have been this tiny little bit
It should have
of,
been a
like,
little sparkle.
and not even like highlighted, but just very, very faintly in the background. Maybe you see it, and then you see this.
Or even show it behind Captain America, and then Thanos like kind of looks confused.
Yeah.
And then Captain America's like, what? And then he like looks around or something.
I don't know.
Not saying what, but I mean he notices Thanos is distracted or something.
I think
then,
it
like,
was
look
a
around.
great scene until that point. And
Yeah.
I hadn't realized it until you mentioned it, because
Yeah.
like that did ruin it. I
That's
was like,
one part
wait, what's
that-
this guy
yeah,
saying?
no.
Is this somebody like, you know?
And it wasn't just because like it didn't just say like we're coming or on like
Yeah.
it specifically said Cap, this is Sam, like we're coming or something like that, and then he said on your left, which like first of all like I don't remember much of the Doctor Strange movie, but like is that how that works? Does he know it's going to be on Captain America's left side
Yeah.
to
he-
be like
he
that's
can-
where the portal's going to be? Because like what Doctor Strange wasn't even with him, was he?
Can't you picture like a place in your mind that you've been and be there?
I don't know how them portals.
I know
work.
how they
But it's
how
like-
it works. That
but-
it's like
but
you
he's
have to
like-
choose it, but like yeah, you can't really know where he is. You don't.
Yeah,
you're not
he
watching.
knew he was on Captain
Somebody
America's
was
left
watching
side.
Captain America. Who was it?
But I just
Spooky.
okay. It would have been so much better if it was just like the little sparkle appeared, and then like Captain America's like, "What is that?" And he like looks over, and then it gets a little bigger and a little bigger until you really realize it's Doctor Strange, and then you have the people walk through.
I almost think like I just love that scene of like when it was showing. That looked like a comic book strip right there. That would have been like a whole
What? Which
whole
part?
page.
Which part?
The part where Captain America's standing there, defeated, broken shield, staring at Thanos
Yeah.
and his army. Like, and then you know they have it in perfect proportions perfect proportions where Captain America's taking up like you know this corner over here, and you just see this horizon of
Yeah.
army. I thought that was a brilliant scene, and I really wanted it to play a little harder.
Yeah, and then
And that's why
that's what I mean. Then the music just stopped.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, hello, like we're
It
on
was,
your left.
it was interesting of a decision to do that.
I didn't
I
like
think
it.
it was
I
poor.
I like ones when it's like the suspension is there, and it's like, wait, I wanted me to feel like, what is that? And then realize it's Doctor Strange, and then get hyped. Like I got hyped anyways, just obviously, but like,
Because yeah.
but they ruined the tension by like canceling the music, having them say we're on your left, because then I hear it and I'm like, oh okay, they're coming back, you know, like the armies are coming is what I mean.
Yeah,
I mean, you knew they were coming because they all
Yeah,
got,
yeah.
But like,
But you
yeah, I
didn't know
agree with you.
how.
You didn't know when, how,
Yeah.
or if they knew what was going on.
they didn't really. Yeah, just have to like call ahead and be like, hey, we're
Yeah.
coming now.
Yeah.
I mean, they basically pulled like
Hey, are you ready? Is this a good time for us to come?
They should literally, instead of even having like a headset piece, it should have just been his phone ring and be like, oh yeah, that was a good time, yeah.
Oh no, yeah, I got stuck. Would you let me take this? It's
no,
really
they have
important.
Captain Marvel like carrying like Doctor Strange on his back or on like under her arms or something. Like it's just like carrying all of them.
No, Hawkeye. It'd have to be Hawkeye.
Hawkeye's already there.
You know what, man? I don't judge
I don't
you.
know. I thought, and I
On
mean,
your eyes in the
but
sky.
okay, but after that, when they all show up, that was so cool. I mean, it was basically a Gandalf coming into Helm's Deep scene, you know, where he like comes over the hill. That is
It's
basically
always
that.
the Lord of the Rings reference.
Yeah, because you don't know Lord of the Rings, so we got to rub it in. So, but it was cool. I love that when all the portals start opening, and then you like really see like how many people are coming through, and then you see all the characters coming through.
I thought it was okay. I thought it was.
You didn't think that was cool?
There were mountains of armies in Wakanda. There were not
but for
enough portals
all of
there.
but for all of the portals coming
There
through.
were a lot of portals. No,
There was
no.
a
There
lot
were
of
not a lot of portals.
Yes, there were.
Do you guys remember Infinity War? There were literally like fields of these people.
They can walk through the same portal. If there's 3 portals,
I
they
know
can.
they're not going one at a
Dude,
time to these
Dude,
portals.
we need to carpool. We only have.
But
Yeah,
they also,
we
but there
need
was
one portal
also,
for each person.
there was
Go.
also, there was also portals at the top with ships flying through. Like they're not all ground troops.
And like I mean, they were kind of bottlenecked about how fast they could come through the port, but they were still just pouring out like
Yeah.
nonstop.
I know, but like it's still there were fields of these people, battalions of warriors
And-
in the Infinity War.
There wasn't that much in Infinity.
There were a lot in Infinity War.
I'm sure you can almost pull up a picture of just like Wakanda battles.
And it would
There-
show
there
you.
wasn't that many.
It would show you
Yeah.
a large mass
Well,
of people.
But there was no. But there
and
was
hidden behind it is a
way
small field.
more.
I think there was more, quite a lot more in Endgame.
For
You
sure.
think about it, they were in a
100%.
big field,
There
but
were
you,
a lot more.
I mean,
What is that your point?
My point is, I'm pissed that they didn't have enough portals.
Oh my god.
They should have just surrounded.
Okay,
this
then
army.
like the way to like end that point is what
Oh, okay.
what
I'm wrong,
what
I guess.
no what
it
I don't
just
know
sounds
his
like portals open up in the sky.
Yeah,
like,
they just drop
launch
it, yeah.
it's what Benedict Wong said. I don't know his name in the character, the Asian guy.
Yeah,
where he
Asian
was like, "You wanted more?" Like what Doctor Strange is like, "Is that,
That was
everybody?"
funny, I like that.
He's like, "You wanted more." That's the equivalent to what your point is. Like
What
you
if
wanted more portals. Like,
Okay,
you,
alright.
It's not enough portals for you.
Well, there were more people. That's all I'm saying. Like they covered maybe about. I'm
I don't
telling
know.
you, it was like maybe
It's
like.
the but it's
it was like
it's the
30 meters
it's the fight
worth
of like an epic
or not 30
scale.
meters, 30
Like-
yards worth of.
Oh my
like,
god.
30 yards.
They're about the same.
30. You're
They're-
saying there's 30 yards of portals?
Yeah, that's what it was.
30
Dude,
miles
like
of portals.
one of those spaceships was like 30 yards.
Yeah. Yeah. The portals were huge.
There was like two,
Yeah, and the spaceships were going through the fucking.
Were your glasses clean towards the end? Like were your glasses getting foggy?
Or
You
No,
just-
they got really dirty. And a lot of shit just gets in your on your glasses. You know.
I think you were just breathing so hard that you were like fogging up your glasses.
You really don't know how glasses work, do you? And by the way, thanks for dating me. But
Yeah, like that's a
I don't wear glasses.
no offense,
there.
that's a dumb point. Like that there wasn't
No.
enough portals.
I'm right. There were billions of these people. There were not
What?
There were so many people. There were so many people in Infinity War to even imply that there was at least half of these battalions in an Endgame pisses me off.
Jesus
That's
Christ.
the point I'm making. Is that I'll admit they didn't all come through, but you have to admit that was not the entirety of Wakanda.
It definitely was.
It definitely was
Oh
not.
my god. But
you
like
need to watch Infinity War. That's all I'm saying. I was prepared. I did watch it before watching this
no,
movie.
you didn't.
I did too.
No, you didn't.
I didn't have anything to do last night.
No, I don't believe that.
I'm just thinking back to when they're on the fields of Wakanda, and you know they're kind of like off in their little
Wait, in
square.
Infinity War?
Yeah, in Infinity War, like, so they're kind of in their like square groups on the field, and you know they might they
Oh
honestly
my God,
weren't
don't
doing
do the
that
math
big.
on it.
I-
I'll
I'm-
just relay my point. I'll just say I'm wrong. I don't want to do the math on it.
James is gonna sit here and do all the
Yeah.
math.
James is like, okay, there were about like 50 groups if we go by that, but each
Okay,
one looked like it held
we'll
it up.
use the ships as size scales. They were about 30 yards.
So, okay. Now, I'm not going to nerd out. I'm just going to make a point. The eigenvalue does not exist for a shape. When he asks Jarvis to calculate the eigenvalue...
That wasn't Jarvis. That was Friday.
That's what its name is?
Yeah, Friday's the new computer person.
That's stupid. That's
Oh my
real
God.
dumb.
Why?
That's what people name their dogs.
Friday? You name your dog Friday?
What? James, that is the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard come out of your mouth.
James just has 7 dogs, and they're all the names of the week. Come here, Tuesday. Tuesday.
Well, what else are you supposed to name them?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'll admit it's a worse name than Jarvis. Jarvis sounds like a robo butler.
Yeah, exactly,
like,
right?
I don't see the name wrong, like something wrong with the name Friday. And how did you not
That's-
catch up on that? He said it like 7 times in the movie.
I haven't seen the rest of the Iron Man.
No, in this
Watched the-
movie, they say Friday all the time.
Maybe it's because it's the name of a day of the week, so I assumed it was Friday, I thought. Hey, Friday. Or I guess I didn't hear any Friday.
That's why even in the end when
Well, you know
Pepper
when, like,
was like
when
Friday,
you
and
hear a name
she's
that
like,
you don't recognize, right? You know, you hear like, hey, blah blah blah, but they say it like kind of quickly, and you're like, I don't know who that is, who they're talking to. So you kind of just don't listen to it.
no, I don't know what
Neither,
you're talking about.
neither do I.
You got some weird,
I don't know.
You got some weird social cues.
Good thing that both of us don't do that. But anyway, my main point is when he asks it to calculate Friday to calculate the eigenvalue of this shape. I'm not gonna be a nerd and go over the science of it, but basically that's the most stupid thing I've heard. Except for what James just said. On Friday. It came close. You came close.
That
to
his daughter was adorable.
Oh yeah.
Like when he's like, when he has to bring her back up to bed, and he's like, "What's a bedtime story?" He's like, "Oh, you go to bed and that's it."
There was a little girl and she slept or something. Was it really boring? Yeah, I agree.
She was adorable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cake pops.
I was surprised
Or
that
freezer
she
pops.
was so lovable and adorable. Because usually when you do child stuff like that, when you add child actors into movies, sometimes they just don't play out in the way that your movie is toned.
I mean, really, all the kids work because like Hawkeye's kid was adorable too. He's like, "How about ketchup?" That was a cute little kid.
I just don't like Hawkeye. So.
Oh my god. But talking about Tony's daughter, like in the end, that was a really cool tie-in too, where she was like, "I want cheeseburgers," and it's like, because that's from the original Iron Man. You know, when he
got back and he just wanted a cheeseburger.
Yeah, and then he's eating one at the press conference, and then that was just, it was such a good way to end it with Happy and the thing, but like Jon Favreau like starting it all, and he's like, "I'll get you all the cheeseburgers you want, kid." Like,
because I think he says that to Tony when he gets back. He's like, "Yeah, you can have all the cheeseburgers."
I don't remember that part. I just remember him eating cheeseburgers, but it was just so cute of an ending to like have Stark's kid and Jon Favreau there, like
that's
being
what
like,
I liked.
"I'll get you all the cheeseburgers."
Panning over all the people, and then just a slow shot of his daughter with Happy. It was cool.
Yeah, that was really.
I didn't
like,
notice
emotional.
the parallels between that was the fact that Iron Man was the first EMCU movie, as well, wrapping up both the beginning and the end of this whole thing, with Iron Man starting it all, and being a lot of references back to that one.
And they did the same with Captain America too. They're the big names of the MCU.
Yeah.
It's like Captain America,
Because they were the
and
first.
and so it's like the first Avenger, Captain America. But like when he finally gets his dance with Peggy, and and he gets the happy life that he always wanted because he was in the ice.
I hated that. I hated that.
The
he was
dance?
happy.
Oh.
I don't know. He should just come back and done his duty.
Yeah, but now we have
they
Falcon.
can just cheat in the Infinity Stones and eat them.
Oh my god, we're not getting back into this.
Is it weird that none of the Avengers had dogs? I'm just thinking about none of them had
And
dogs.
they didn't name them Friday?
Friday, yeah. I feel like there should be a dog at the Avengers house.
That's probably why he named his computer system Friday, is because he didn't have a dog to name it
Jeez.
Friday.
Oh my god. Oh, back to the fight. What did you think of him finally saying "Avengers Assemble"? Has he said? I don't think he said it before. In the original, I don't think he said it, but like,
I think he did in the first Avengers. Yeah, I think he did.
Well, he said it again, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I thought.
It's kind of like pretty loud to be calling all of the Wakanda. I mean, Black Panther. You could be grandfathered in, but we don't even know half these people's names.
What are you talking about?
The Warriors of Wakanda. I mean, I guess there was a lot of like randos in that.
They're just all the random people in the army. They're just being included as
Yeah,
part of the Avengers.
they're not Avengers. They don't count.
Yeah, but isn't the point of Avengers being like, it's not just 6 people? Like,
Okay,
it's
so just
the
anyone
term.
could be an Avenger. If I was there,
Then why were they so reluctant to let Spider-Man be an
They
Avenger?
weren't.
Exactly.
They weren't reluctant. Tony
They were.
invited him, and Peter said no in Homecoming.
Yeah, but he was reluctant to invite him, and then eventually he did.
and then
Well, because he had to
eventually,
prove that he was actually like
And
useful.
none of the Wakandan warriors, there's like,
They're
okay,
Wakandan warriors.
Well,
of course they're
there.
useful.
They're there, so they're
Oh
Avengers.
my god.
Thank you.
they're not reluctant to accept people in.
Okay, well.
If they were reluctant, Hawkeye wouldn't have gotten in. Like, without a
Hawkeye
doubt.
was grandfathered in just because he was at the table. when
Yeah,
everyone
he
was
would not.
talking.
He would not have been in. When they made
Also,
it,
Black Widow probably would.
Black Widow. I don't know how people like her as a superhero. Like, she's just a Russian
she must
spy.
Be really awesome in the comics.
But I mean, even in this, like, people love her. All she does is like, she
It's
does
just
a
'cause
she does a.
Johansson plays her.
But she does. The only thing I've ever seen her do really cool was in Infinity War, when she actually does some cool flips in the ditch when she's fighting that alien lady.
Which everyone does something cool in Infinity War. So
Yeah,
it's
but
kinda
I mean, that part was that's cool. Otherwise, she
they
just
make
like
Hawkeye look good in Infinity War. If you can do that, you can do anything.
he wasn't in Infinity War.
Oh.
But he had the arc in Endgame, so.
I fell asleep halfway through the movie of Infinity War last night.
But yeah, like I don't find her useful at all. Like she just shoots guns and like does some flips. So it's like I'm not that upset that she's dead. We didn't even talk about
Yeah.
that. Like she's just kind of gone now.
I kind of wish they both fell off. I kind of wish there was a way to get this story.
You and
both
Hawkeye.
fell off.
Yeah, I'm surprised they killed her off.
I'm not.
Why?
I imagine Scarlett Johansson's kind of expensive for the cast, and if they want to keep doing.
But
these
I
large
mean like just to kill her off like that. I thought
I figure if they're cleaning house, they might as well clean house.
no.
now.
But I mean actually killing her. Like you'd think if she started as like a Russian spy person, I thought she would just be like, okay, we're done with the Avengers or whatever. I'm retiring, and then she goes and does like some Russian spy stuff. Going into it, I didn't think they'd kill her off. Is what I'm saying. I thought there'd be some other way of getting her out of the story.
I think the majority of characters that retire out of the Avengers are gonna do so with a meaningful death.
Yeah. Like, I think you kind of have to assume that because people are going to be pissed if you have a larger scale. Like, let's say they do another large, not this large, obviously. There's never going to be an Avengers movie that's going to have this many characters. If they do, they're insane. They're actually insane.
Well, they'd have to do it somewhere in like 5-10 years, where like somehow they get the time stones again or whatever, and then bring everybody from this movie back somehow to be like, hey, Tony Stark and Captain America's back.
I think it's more they just kind of have to fill out their roster again, and then just kind of like, because I mean both the real leaders are dead, or or retired, they're gone. So I think this kind of got to fill out their roster, kind of establish their pecking order, and then they can have another universe-ending.
Well, Captain Marvel is the top.
Well, it's now Captain Marvel. Captain America is now Falcon. Or Falcon is now.
But that doesn't necessarily mean he's still like the leader of the Avengers.
No, but I mean, I was saying like who we have.
He's not Captain America. Just because he has a shield doesn't mean he's Captain America.
He becomes Captain America.
No, that's
yes, he
not
does.
How it works.
Yes, it is.
Really?
Yeah.
The shield is what makes you Captain America.
Well, you take the mantle of it.
I mean, yeah, you can take the.
There's been multiple Robins.
You were not going to call him Captain America.
Yeah, they would.
But I mean, when they gave the other guy an Iron Man suit, he's not Iron Man. He's what's his
Warthog.
War Machine.
War Machine, yeah.
No, but that's like because he's not. That was different. There was already Captain America.
Why is that different?
Because there's already an Iron Man.
This is different.
This Captain America. He becomes Captain America. He takes the mantle of it.
Why didn't he take the mantle of Iron Man?
Because Iron Man was still alive.
And when so is Captain America.
No, he's not.
He might be 90 years old, but he's still alive.
Bring him out of retirement. No. One last job.
He'll just walk out on the front lines and be like, Avengers, assemble.
No, he becomes Captain America. He takes the mantle.
I disagree.
There's been multiple Robins. There's been multiple of a lot of mantles.
Robins.
In, like, Batman. Like, in the same universe, there's been one Batman and multiple Robins. Like they take the mantle.
That's a side character though. This is the
but
they
take
himself.
mantles. They don't have. It doesn't have to be but Steve Rogers is a person. Captain America is not a person.
But he can also be a new superhero.
All right, Steve Rogers, you're
but
dead.
he's not.
Why can't he be though?
Because he can technically, but they're not going to do it.
What if he wants a different name?
They're not going to do it.
So if somebody else turned big and green, would they become the Hulk? If he had to
because the Hulk is still alive and there.
So if the Hulk died and then someone turned big and green?
Probably. Yes. Jeez. Oh, I did.
So if someone wore Black Widow's suit, would they become Black Widow now?
If she wanted to take the mantle of it, yeah. The Dread Pirate Roberts. There's been multiple Dread Pirate Roberts. It's not one guy.
It doesn't even count because everyone thinks it's the same guy.
Yeah.
You are pulling.
What is so wrong with this? I guarantee you, in the next movies, Sam, who was Falcon, will be called Captain America.
If someone calls him Captain America, I will pay you $100.
Oh, you got it right here.
Let's shake on it right now.
I guarantee it.
I guarantee you they're not going to call him.
They're going to call him Captain America.
They are not going to call him.
Yes, they are.
Okay, they might do it once, but like they.
Hey, you shook on it.
As long as it's his actual name and not just they call him that once. Like if that's his official Avengers name.
More than a couple times they say.
They're going to call him Captain America. I
No, they're gonna call him Warthog or whatever his dumb name is.
That's
They're
two
gonna
different
call-
people.
They're gonna call him Captain Sam.
But his hero name is Falcon.
Wait, they did call him that.
Captain
yeah.
Falcon.
Ooh, there we go.
Which is kind of sad too, because I like Falcon, like his whole like wingsuit thing.
I mean, why?
You know, they
Why
might call
does he
him
have to get rid of
Captain
that?
Because he's Captain America now, James.
Why can't he be both?
Wait, that'd be broken. He's flying around with the shield.
How would that be broken?
I mean,
He's
He already
flying.
is
Captain
Cap-
America can't fly.
he's already
Yeah,
flying.
but-
No,
but-
what
but
I
he's,
mean,
like,
what's the shield gonna
superhuman.
do? He's wearing a full metal suit. How much more metal does this
But
man
it's not
need?
vibranium.
It's stronger than vibranium, isn't it? Because
Vibranium's the strongest.
Dude,
well, Iron Man didn't ever lose any part of his suit in a fight, but
Yes, he did.
did he?
it's made out of nano, so it could like repair itself.
Yeah, and it was
so-
destroyed in Infinity War. Mister, I just watched Infinity War last
I was
night.
joking. I didn't actually watch it. You caught me.
Yeah, I know.
Surprise, surprise. I
It
didn't
was
waste
all
my
destroyed.
time.
It was all destroyed in Infinity War. What do you mean waste your time?
You need to call me out. Like
Oh my
that.
God.
Jesus, that was supposed to be something I said while you were yelling too loud for anyone to hear.
Yeah, because I'm the one that yells too loud.
Yes, you are. You just edit out all the parts where you yell.
What did you actually think of Hulk? Like in general.
The
I
same
would
thing I think of Hulk.
his current iteration just I don't know. I felt like a big problem I had with him in the previous movie was he did nothing Hulk related.
Yeah.
He literally drove around a robot, and it's like, okay, why not have any other human being?
Yeah,
what he's doing?
seriously.
So I mean, the fact that he's actually being the Hulk again, I felt
Yeah.
was very
Well,
refreshing.
and I really liked it the most that it was actually Banner and Hulk. Because in the original, in the original Avengers, and they even show it, he's like Hulk. He's like crazed and like beating stuff
Yeah.
up and stuff. I really liked that it was like human,
made
but also Hulk.
resolution between the two.
Because I hated Infinity War with Hulk, where he's just like, I can't get Hulk
Because
to
it
work.
was after Ragnarok that Ragnarok there was this huge issue with
Yeah,
the-
but like,
the
and
Hulk.
well, and same in Infinity War when he gets beat up by Thanos. Like, I hated everything about Hulk in Infinity War when he's just like useless. He's like, I
Yeah,
can't get it
it
working
was
and
stupid.
everything. And like, I'm so glad he actually had this redemption story of like, he's actually really useful now. He's smart. He's doing stuff, and he looks like the Hulk because it's not just Banner. Because Banner's boring when he's Banner. He's cool when he looks like Hulk and Banner.
Yeah, his personality was different where he was more like social.
They gave him way more stuff to do in this.
He was more social in general. I mean, with the kids, it was funny when Ant-Man was trying to flex and say like, "Oh, you want a picture with Ant-Man?" And then he's like, "No, just take the phone back." And Bruce is trying to get him to take a picture. Like, come on, take a picture with Ant-Man. Because
He's like, the kid's literally shaking his head no.
Yeah, he's the only one at that
Yeah.
point who like. That was funny. I love that part. He's like, "Just take the goddamn phone."
Oh, one question is, we've talked about how crazy broken Captain Marvel is.
Yeah.
Like, do you think they're gonna continue bringing her like back in and out throughout the next movies? Like, what's your predictions for the next movies?
I think it'll be very
No.
very similar to what it was in this movie,
Like, used
where she doesn't
sparingly?
really
Show up
yeah
Help.
very often.
she's just
And
gonna
when
be
she
there
does-
to like kind of be involved and like have some screen
Hey, I'm
time
here.
and like blow up a spaceship in the background or something like that.
I agree because
She's just too
seems like
powerful.
they're. I mean, not only that, but she seems like they're trying to play her as this guardian that saves everybody, and so she's playing so many roles around.
Well, yeah, and it's such an easy excuse to
Yeah.
use. It's like, oh, she's not there because she's the only one that can go help everybody else.
Yeah,
It's a very good excuse to
it
be
is
like,
a very good excuse.
I'm just gonna disappear.
I wish. I hope that we see some of these like the next movie that we see her in, like on her own, is a story like that where we see a
Oh.
situation where no Avengers are working. It's not about her planet. It's about her and a struggle with a
Well,
planet.
her
near
planet
a
is
planet.
Earth, so.
Is it? Oh yeah,
She's
from Earth.
human. Yeah.
That's
But then
right.
she was with the
Yeah, and
Kree?
she ran through.
Was it
yeah,
Kree?
Yeah, it's Kree.
who were the bad people? Skrulls. That was the bad.
There were no bad people.
Oh yeah, it's spoilers for James.
Racism.
And all your viewers, listeners.
Everyone to this point, it should be noted that everyone to this point should have seen every other
You
Marvel movie.
definitely didn't need to see Captain Marvel for this though.
Oh, you definitely did.
Like there's
Yeah.
nothing to her other than her crying about Nick Fury at the very beginning when she sees like who died.
I don't even remember that.
And she said she's busy. Which honestly could just be her excuse, and she could just be like sleeping in or something.
She's doing the Thor beer Fortnite thing.
Yeah.
I liked New Asgard. That was kind of cool. Where they started their own little town. Because that's the whole thing. It's like Asgard's the people, not the place kind of thing.
Wait, so are Asgard's broken people like Thor, or is he just a god and everyone else is like normal people? Because I thought that they all were like super.
Other people were. I think they're just normal people.
I think they're, compared to a normal human, I think they're superhumans.
But not necessarily as strong as we relate.
They're not
comparatively to
Thor power level.
Yeah.
Because Valkyrie's not. She doesn't have like a Thor power level. She just has a Pegasus
Actually,
or something.
Speaking of which, what did you think about Thor giving up his title?
I didn't care at all.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly it. Like,
Yeah.
I hated it.
I liked it. I mean,
was
it's just,
stupid.
well, that's his whole point is that he's been tied down this whole time. So now you
Has that been
can really
established
go nuts with the character now
Well,
because
they
you
better.
don't need to tie in
They better,
Asgard.
man.
That's why he's going with the Guardians because they're just like he can do whatever.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
You know?
Okay, never mind.
Yeah,
I
because
rescind
otherwise it's just like it's gonna be a whole movie of him
He better
rebuilding
be buff.
Asgard.
He better be buff though.
I swear.
In
I
the next
like,
movie, he better be buff as fuck.
I think they definitely will. Like, they're not gonna keep him like
you
Or
know,
they're gonna be
you know,
ashy.
there's gonna be a 5-minute montage of him like training or something.
Oh yeah.
And, like,
Because when you pay for Chris
oh
Hemsworth,
no, you know what
pay
you know what they're gonna
for
do. You
the
know what they're gonna do.
six-pack and
No,
the buff abs.
You know what they're
and-
gonna do? He's gonna be benching Rocket on the Guardians ship. Like he's gonna be holding Rocket and like benching him up and down or something.
Yeah, that's how you burn a lot of weight.
Is benching this raccoon.
Oh my god. Well, wait, did
You know,
Hawkeye said he wasn't a raccoon? What is he?
he's
He's like some sort of alien thing, but
well,
like
he's a genetic modification of a raccoon with some cybernetic implants. I'm pretty sure,
but he'd still be a raccoon.
or not cybernetic, but they did gene splicing or something inside of him after he was
With a
made.
duck.
With platypus.
They did something because he has holes on the back of his
What?
chest. On his chest, yeah, there's holes in the
Holes
back.
on the back of his chest.
Yeah, they have, like-
so his back.
Almost. Okay.
Maybe it's just the back, the inside of his chest.
Yeah, it's on the rib cage. Inside the rib cage. Yeah. Oh, okay, whatever. I look like an idiot now because I said back of the chest. Oh, haha, let's everyone make fun of Baylus because I said something wrong. Anyway, but yeah, like,
Either way, I liked New Asgard. I thought it was kind of cool.
well, what I wanted to say was that I thought it was hilarious when they pointed out, he's like, until just now, I thought you were a Build-A-Bear. And he's like, I might as well be.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, that was a funny part too, where he was like, he thinks he failed, and of course he did, but everybody kind of
Yeah.
you know, like
I
he's point like it's oh that was one thing. The movie was super self-aware, like the self-awareness of
Yeah.
talking about how other people think of time travel,
Yeah.
and like being self-aware that
Back to
it
the
it
Future.
really was Thor's fault. I mean, technically, if you want to go back, it's Quill's fault because he hit Thanos when like the mind thing, but like
technically, it's somebody's fault.
yeah,
for
but I mean like
letting Thanos
it was
be
very
ready.
self-aware to be like Thor had the opportunity to kill him and he missed, so it was very self-aware to kind of tell the audience that it's like it is kind of his fault, you know. And like there was a couple other ones that I can't remember now, but like it was very self-aware where they talked about it just openly. It's like, hey, like this is going on, you know, this is how time travel works, but they reference like freaking hot tub time machine.
Yeah, that was
you know?
funny.
Like it was cool how like they played with how people understand stuff and
Yeah.
like it wasn't fourth wall breaks, but it was
It was just that you know how the audience is
Yeah,
going to react
yeah.
in 2019.
put Fortnite in.
If Fortnite's not in this new Marvel movie, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah, I liked New Asgard. Like I thought it was cool how they kind of brought that back in.
It's very quaint, though. It's very quaint. I think it was funny.
Well, but it's also like
Not in a bad
if you
way,
do the
but
hey
like-
bringing back the math, you know, like
The destroyed Asgard people plus
the half that were
snap.
snapped. Yeah, so they have a quarter of Asgard technically.
Did they define that the
No,
amount of
but it's like if you
remaining
just want to say half and then half of that. Like
well, let's do
there's
some
a quarter
math
of
on
Asgard.
the 30-yard rule.
Yeah, I think it's smart to like like that's a way to keep Valkyrie in the movies, where it's like you can bring her back in later, where she doesn't have to be in the movie all the time like Ragnarok, but you bring her kind of back to like be like, hey, I need to go to Asgard for a minute or something, or like, hey, we need Asgard's help for some reason, and then you bring Valkyrie back. It's a good way to be like she's the leader now. Thor can go off and do his own thing, but it's also Asgard's still a thing in the universe, and she's a character.
Yeah.
You know, it was a good way of like tying it in. And like you said, like he said, like it's the first time in 1,000 years he doesn't have to be worrying about Asgard, you know,
I am super excited for the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
because Thor's in it.
And because they're going to find the real Gamora.
I didn't like. I don't like that. It was funny in Infinity War, the dynamic between him and Star-Lord, but like I didn't like it in this one, where they're like, "Oh yeah, I know you're in charge."
No, I loved it. It
I
was the
thought it
subtle.
was pretty good.
I thought
Okay,
the
but it went on.
subtleties-
It went on for too long.
I normally would agree with you.
Yeah.
But I thought the subtleties of how they played it out, where, because you can tell, like Quill's always this guy. He's he's running around in a spaceship with a bunch of fucking aliens that are way more powerful in combat than him.
Yeah, he's a human.
Especially with Drax. Quill's the most useless person on that ship. and he
No,
wants to-
Mantis.
Mantis. Well,
I mean-
Mantis could subdue him by putting him
Yeah,
to
that's
sleep.
true.
I guess Mantis doesn't shoot guns, so she'd die. So yeah, Mantis is the worst. In a pit fight to the death. Yeah, she would lose because she doesn't have the range on him. But without his weapons, he's useless. But like I thought it was funny that
But he's got a cool helmet.
I thought it was funny that they were playing off of it, and they didn't play into it too much because I thought the second Guardians of the Galaxy movie was like a little like, dude, come on, like, or Infinity War as well. Like they're constantly playing this up that he's constantly worried about it. Whereas this one was kind of just a subtle like, you're literally standing next to a god and a human.
It still just
And
went on.
he's trying to flex on him. He's like, oh yeah, no, I'll let you. And then he actually does. He's like, don't worry, I'll let you be it. But like Quill's also not really fully.
I liked how he called him Quail. like
like he's like some
But yeah, it went on for too long for me. Like
I can see
the joke
it.
was funny at first because that was the
And-
joke in Infinity War. Is
Yeah.
that like Quill's like, what's the word when it's like you feel inferior. Like inferior to him, where he's sizing him up kind of thing, and it was just the same joke but like longer, and
And I definitely will tell you next time I watch it, it will go on too long. I will not like it. Right.
Oh yeah, that's true. This is the second time I've seen it, so
yeah.
it went on.
So
for
it
a long
definitely
time.
I could definitely understand.
The second time you see it, the whole movie feels shorter too.
Wow, that's impressive because this movie actually felt really short to me.
Well, you were sitting there for a long time. Like,
I know,
in
I was,
reality,
'cause my ass hurts right now. I'm excited to see Thor buff again and have a new attitude on life.
I don't know.
New year, new me.
Thor's never been an interesting character to me, even with Ragnarok and stuff.
Thor's the coolest.
Yeah, I thought he's one of the more interesting characters.
I've never liked Captain America and Thor.
Captain America. I don't like Captain America at all.
Yeah,
I
I actually really liked him in this movie, Captain America. This is the most I've ever liked him, and it was in this movie. But all of the Captain America movies, I did not like him.
I liked it because the fighting isn't as fun compared to these other superheroes where they have so much dynamics and flexibility. Whereas Captain America has a shield and he throws it at people. Whoa, he threw it at people and it bounced off of that. Whoa, it bounced off of that guy and hit another dude. Oh, it bounced off of him, hit another dude, it hit something else. Whoa, and then it's literally just that's his gig. That's his shtick.
Or he's just like Mayweather.
Yeah, but you could say the
Yeah,
same. You could say the
he's-
same thing about
And he's
all.
like, I could do this all day.
You could say the same thing about a lot of those. Like Ant-Man, all he does is turn small. Like it's just like.
But
I don't like Ant-Man
he also
either.
turns big.
Yeah, but so when he turns big,
But I
you
mean, like,
watch the movie.
you could
for
say
when
that about a lot of people. Gamora just shoots people. Like
But there's
Star-Lord
five of them.
just
There's
shoots
five
people.
of them in that
Five
movie.
of who?
Five of the Guardians of the Galaxy. We don't have a movie on just Gamora.
No. But I'm just saying.
I guess-
Saying.
Oh yeah, I see
Yeah,
it.
you're saying the only
I'm talking about
interesting
a
part.
character. In a
Yeah,
movie,
yeah.
Not a movie. Yeah. You're right. But like they're more to that. Captain America isn't as charismatic as Guardians of the Galaxy. These characters are all fun, enjoyable. They have quippy lines. They're funny. And
There's a
then
tree.
Captain America just sits there and says, "I can do this all day." I mean.
You think that's like the only line he says in all his movies? Like,
Well, honestly.
no,
yeah.
I'm just saying like
It's been so long.
it's funny to think that's all he says
Well, honestly,
Like-
I can't think of anything else he's ever said in battle. I mean, yeah. Like,
in battle. Well, you don't really
When
talk in
fighting.
battle. Oh,
I mean, that's all they do.
anime will lead you
talking
to
about
believe
talking
it.
about battle. What did you think of Doctor Strange like talking to Tony like those two times? Like when he talked to him, he's like, "I can't
I
tell
loved
you what happens."
I loved it.
And then the second time
It
when he
was
holds up
perfect.
the one finger, I
It
thought that was really
amazing.
cool. Oh, that's another thing. Doctor Strange didn't do anything in that fight.
He made the portals.
But not enough. Not enough portals. No, but he did that purple smash thing, which is really cool. And then he held back the water. But I think it's the same problem they have with Captain Marvel is that he's just too powerful.
Yeah, he's too
Because like when he fought Thanos, when he turned into like 16 million of himself and like did the lashy things,
Yeah.
like he's just too powerful. So it's like, oh, let's
But I
have
mean,
him hold
Thanos
back the lake.
Thanos still beat him.
Yeah, but if you have him plus Captain Marvel
But
plus everybody else.
He knew how they won, so he really let him beat him.
But he also knew that he wasn't the one.
He could have beaten him, but it's not as flashy because he could have beat him a lot of ways.
It's just the same problem as Captain Marvel. They're just too powerful of characters.
What I think is that
I don't think he
shares
shares that problem.
I agree with you.
He's definitely too powerful.
Okay, on a scale.
I think he's like on Thor level.
On a 1 to Captain. On a 1 to Captain Marvel.
More than you're like trying to have a conversation. Like, wait, you think Doctor Strange is more powerful? Than Thor? No, I'm asking you. Do you think Thor is
I think
more
he's
powerful?
More powerful than Thor, but I think he's kind of like in the same level.
No, Doctor Strange is way more powerful. He literally has an Infinity Stone.
Then who?
Thor. James is saying that Doctor Strange is not as powerful as Thor.
No, Doctor Strange is more powerful than Thor because he plays different cards.
And he has a time stone. He has a stone.
Yeah, but I would say they're about like the same in power level.
No. Like, well, not anymore. He doesn't have it.
I'd say Captain Marvel.
Oh yeah. Wait.
It's gone. They're gone.
We're not getting back into time travel stuff.
Yeah. But anyway.
But I mean, you think that he lost to Thanos 1v1, whereas, and that was before.
Everyone lost to Thanos 1v1.
Oh no, not 1v1. No, like Thor actually beat him. It's just he literally had the axe in his chest, was killing him.
Technically, it wasn't 1v1 though.
There was like 16 people around him at the time.
Yeah, and
Thor just threw the axe.
He literally just like one hit all of them, didn't care, and then Thor just went up and he was just destroying Thanos. So
he didn't destroy him.
He literally threw the axe at him. He's like, "You're dead." And
but like,
you didn't even know if a head kill would have killed him.
Yeah, it did kill him in this movie.
Well, he didn't have the stones then, or his armor, idiot.
But
I don't. I
he
think,
had a T-shirt.
I think both of them, I guess my point more than anything is I think they're both like very potent, like powerful people, but I don't think either of them are overpowered.
I think Doctor Strange is pretty.
What I think that
he lost though, like he really lost.
So did Thor.
And that's why I'm saying they're about the same. And honestly, I don't think Thor did lose, but I think the argument is there.
Here's what I want to say about it. I think that they're in different dimensions because Thor is one-dimensional in a power scale. And I agree with you that he did almost kill him.
Do you think Doctor Strange is overpowered? Like to the point?
I think power level, it's Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, Thor.
I don't think
it depends on how we're doing.
I don't think Doctor Strange is too overpowered at all.
Then let's not say overpowered. The power rankings is definitely Captain Marvel.
What is the judgment? Is it a 1v1? Is it who's most likely to beat Thanos? Who's winning?
Who's powerful? Well, and because I guess we'll see.
Thor's powerful in that he can kill Thor or Thanos, but also Doctor Strange is powerful because he can beat Thor.
What?
Like Doctor Strange can do things that
in terms of power,
Thor.
Doctor Strange is very powerful.
So think about it like this, where it's like you have the Dragon Ball like power level scanner, like.
God.
You have this nerd alert.
Jesus.
We weren't gonna bring up that we've seen Dragon Ball, James.
I haven't seen it. So.
Okay, just imagine.
I can imagine power levels.
Yeah, imagine you have a generic non-Dragon Ball power level scanner that just gives you a number of their power level.
Okay,
it's Captain Marvel. It's Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, Thor.
And I agree with that, but I think it's literally like
you just said you didn't agree.
No, I'm saying I think it's literally like Thor, Doctor Strange, and then like Captain Marvel.
Yeah, for sure.
And so
Captain
I don't think either of them are OP. Like I don't think they ruin the plot with their strength like Captain Marvel was, and that was the original point. That
depends on what the scale is. Is it
their power level?
Are you talking about like raw?
What's the scale?
Power?
What's the unit of measure? Power.
If we're going off of, you go off of so many measurements. If power is, you can interpret power as like the punching ability of each of them.
I think we can all agree that Captain Marvel's is over 9,000.
Captain Marvel wins in every regard. There's nothing that Captain Marvel doesn't win in unless it's like can she travel through a portal? That's basically it. That's
not enough portals.
We gotta keep bringing that up. There wasn't that there weren't enough portals. It was that there weren't enough people to be all of Wakanda, which pissed me off.
but it's not all of Wakanda. It's all of the Wakandan soldiers who totally fit through the portal.
No, because you saw them. They were.
We're not going back into this.
Yeah,
and,
we're not.
and I think that was only the half of them that got snapped away.
No, they're all back.
No,
though,
they're all back.
by then.
Because the half of them were there, half of them got returned, and then they all joined the fight.
Then why weren't the half that survived just there initially?
Because they're lazy. I don't know. They're dealing with Wakandan garbage.
Well, they didn't have any.
But they have like bandits and raiders in their place. Like what
No,
was the
because
first one
Wakanda's
about?
hidden.
What was the first movie about again?
What first movie? Black Panther?
Yeah, there was like an internal
was-
power struggle, a civil
Yeah,
war.
Killmonger.
Yeah, so bam, that could happen again
No,
while
he
they're
was.
all gone.
And then conveniently just kind of went away
Well-
right when the other people got snapped back to life.
Yeah, but but they weren't.
Well,
Wakanda.
they were gonna
Wakanda.
clean
The reason
house.
Wakanda wasn't there is because Wakanda didn't have like an Avenger with them. Their leader, superpower person, was Black Panther, and he was
So what
snapped.
about okay,
Like the only person was
same
Okoye,
same
who was
thing.
just like trying to take care of Wakanda while he
Who-
was gone.
She's the only one who could
But then-
arguably put it
Then like
put
the
it in
same thing
Avenger
for
category.
the surviving Asgard people. Why were they there? They had a leader.
You see that they
No,
have
they
been
didn't.
working out recently.
Well, they were there. When Valkyrie
Not
flew
until
through.
the portals came up. Why weren't?
Oh my god!
So-
why-
so
no
my-
one was there before the point.
I know
except for like the three.
that's my point. It's like if the people that were still alive.
Well,
Like,
really
why,
cared
why
about
are we
saving
even
the
wait? Why are we
universe.
even arguing about this? This was in like within 5 minutes. Thanos' ship flies through, blows up the place, and then
yeah,
they start
didn't
fighting.
even know yet.
They weren't
It wasn't,
there.
until Sam got on the phone. Hey, I'm to your lap. By
Why
the
are we
way."
even arguing about this? They didn't know.
Because James wasn't aware of that until you pointed it out just now. There we go. That's conversation for you.
Oh my god! It's like, why did they not know? Like you said, they should pull out their phone and just be like, "Hey, come help us."
I like how the last the first half of this was us explaining, logically, or like the first 2/3 of this was us logically explaining, all of our opinions and beliefs on the movie. And then this last third has been the fun, entertaining part, and we're just bullshitting each other, just using things.
Well, that's the most powerful person. What do you think is the most powerful weapons?
Mjolnir.
Because there's the Iron Man suit, Mjolnir, Stormbreaker, the Captain America shield. Well, let's say Black Panther suit.
Can you just include the Infinity Stones?
That's not a weapon.
How's that not a weapon? It literally killed 10 trillion.
Yeah, I
people.
would agree.
10 trillion.
Yeah.
No, but I mean like in
I would
the Avengers weapons.
Okay. Well, they did use it as
Yeah,
Oh,
Iron Man
right.
used it as his weapon
So-
now.
It is canon Avengers weapon now. Thanos.
Whatever. Let's start wrapping it up.
Yeah.
What is your selected scene? You said you wanted to do that.
Yeah. So just for James, the selected scene is.
Hey, and the viewers.
And the viewers, sorry to neglect you, viewers. If any way you're offended, you can at me.
No
on
offense,
Twitter.
James. You're not more important than the viewers.
But yeah, James and the viewers, the selected scene.
The
is-
viewers and James.
You are really making this more difficult than it needs to be. So the selected scene is the scene that when in a couple of years or in a couple of months, when someone asks
Or
you about a
tomorrow.
movie, or tomorrow, if someone asks you about this movie, what's the first scene you'll think of when you think of the movie, right? That's essentially what the selected scene.
Or just an idea, or like.
Yeah, something that impacted you. The first thing you'll think of when remembering a cool part. It's the idea is
Like
to
just
be
like
what-
a random one would just be like, oh, I instantly think of Thanos farming. Like,
Yeah.
for whatever reason, that would be your choice.
Yeah.
Like, which is knowing you, it's gonna be your
It
choice.
doesn't have to be like a summation of your feelings on it. It just has to be like, what's the first thing you're gonna
Knowing
think?
James is gonna be something so randomly dumb, like
That's why we bring him
Ant-Man
on.
swimming in the water after Avengers got blown up. Like,
Yeah. How did he find them? Wow.
for
it's
whatever reason, he just likes that scene.
Yeah. Well, how should we go about this? Should
James
go
is
first?
the newbie. What's your scene? Or do you want to think about it?
I
longer?
got-
Wait, let's leave
I
it
got
for
a
last. 'cause
feeling- I got a
You'd probably know yours.
yeah, I know mine pretty well. So mine's going to be that scene that I already talked about, which is the scene where
Oh.
the army of Thanos is standing up on that ridge, and Captain America is just able to hobble himself up and stand up with his broken shield, just looking at it. That was such a cinematic, and just that's when you were filled the most with like despair. It's like, wow, well, that's the end of the universe right there, and he's gonna get away with it. Like honestly,
That was cool too. That Thanos was like, I usually just pick apart like half the population because I
Yeah.
thought it would fix
Well,
it.
he thought he would.
But that's what I mean. Like he's like, I thought it would, but you've proven it's not. So I'm just gonna actually destroy everything and start over.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool because they changed it from Infinity War, where he's like, oh, like I was wrong, but I'm gonna do even worse. You know?
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's my selected scene. It just was really moving and really awesome. I was really into it, and it was.
It reminded me almost of the Last Jedi scene with Kylo
Yeah.
versus Luke in that kind of like wide shot kind
yeah.
of looks. It looked
Where
kind
you
of
had
like that.
With just those armies behind him.
Yeah.
And these.
When they use those like wide angle lenses
Yeah.
and stuff, like the kind of cinematic pictures.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of. Do you have yours or you want me to go?
Yeah, you go, Daniel.
There you go.
You still don't have yours?
I kind of maybe.
Mine, which is weird because I've already said I don't really like Captain America, but the first thing I think of is when he gets Mjolnir and then beats up Thanos. Like, because for me, it wasn't like I don't love Captain America. I've never really liked him.
Yeah.
But the idea of like him finally being able to wield it and just a MCU character using another MCU character's like thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the closest one was like when Spider-Man got the Iron Spider suit. Like it was really cool to see like, hey, that's like the Iron Man thing, but it's for Spider-Man, you know, where they kind of like switch and trade kind of thing. There's nothing really else to compare it to other than like,
Yeah.
you know, but it was cool to see, especially because they're iconic things like the
Yeah.
Captain America shield and the Thor's hammer. Like it was cool to see him finally get to use it, and like I said earlier, the choreography of how he used it, of like it felt natural. He did the spinny thing. He like did the uppercut to Thanos. He got to
Yeah.
channel the lightning.
Yeah, it was
Like-
really awesome how natural
Yeah,
it was. And how
and
he
it-
wasn't clumsy with it. It was almost like Thor was right
Yeah,
there. Just,
and he finally got to like use it, and the summon even he didn't like just pick it
Yeah.
up. Like he actually got to summon it and throw it around and stuff, which is just it's interesting because I
it's
don't like
cool
Captain
that,
America.
That it was cool that it was instinct, you know, that he just knew how
Yeah,
to do it.
and they set it up so that you would think it's Thor doing
Yeah.
it. You know, yeah, I thought that was interesting that that's mine as of right now because I don't like Captain America ever
Yeah.
really, and it was just cool to see that combination. Like I said, when he did the shield bash thing, like all of it, it was really cool.
Yeah.
Do you have yours? Are you ready?
Yeah,
Well, ready or not.
I don't know. I think I would probably choose when they're in their like headquarters and they start planning out their time heist. I think that's what I choose because it's really where all the characters come together and they start actually putting together the plan.
Yeah.
So I don't. To me, that's almost the real start of the story. After they're done like crying about how hurt they are, like I don't know.
Yeah.
That's where they like the action actually starts. Or
Yeah.
like, so I don't know. That's probably what I choose because it seems
Before
like it's,
or after Thor cries about Jane?
Yeah,
You know
he's
what
saying
he
that whole
is.
scene.
Yeah.
Well-
I was just joking.
Oh. Wait, so pretty much until right when it starts when
or
like Thor-
maybe even
Just in general. I
maybe
mean,
even the
what else
part maybe
I
even
was
the
just
part where
making
they're all like standing on like the time portal thing. They're all like ready to go.
Oh
and they-
yeah, that was. Really
Oh,
cool.
that was cool with the hands in the middle too, and like Captain America's speech, where he's like, "This is the fight of our lives," and Rocket was like, "He's pretty good at that."
Yeah.
Yeah, that part was cool too. I liked Rocket with Ant-Man, where he's like a little puppy. You want to go to space, puppy? Because it's true. It's like Ant-Man doesn't know what's going
Rocket's
on.
character was cool in this one.
Yeah, he got really cool. But yeah, like
I'm
because
glad,
Ant-Man
'cause-
doesn't know what's going on, so it was kind of funny to be like,
Yeah.
you know, let's treat him like a kid or
Yeah,
like a puppy,
exactly.
you know. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, and it's interesting too because you didn't really like the first half either. What you were saying about the whole like emotional fan
Yeah,
service
I
stuff.
feel like they're literally trying to drive home the point where it's like we are sad we lost stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like okay, I get the point.
But you're
let's-
saying that's where it started to pick up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
I think all three of those are pretty good.
Mine's
Good
the
scenes.
best.
I think
So-
you're two. I think both of you like almost picked the same one.
No, I picked
No.
a different one. I picked the
Because
scene
his
where
his ones he
he's
actually
broken.
got beat.
You know,
Yeah.
after
You're-
they're done fighting.
They're
Yeah,
close
it's like
to.
the fight and then the
You're
end
new
of the
here,
fight.
okay? This is your first one, man.
just
Okay, don't go criticizing
because
us.
ours are within 15 minutes doesn't
Yeah.
make them
No,
the same
it's
thing.
really like the fight
We're
and the end of the fight.
cinematographers, so
Yeah, but yours is like.
oh, if it's in the last half, then it's the same scene, really, according to James.
No, so like he's fighting and then it's
I
like
think it's just
the-
because it's about the same character. It's different scenes.
No,
just
it's
the
really
same
like
character.
I have the flail, I'm fighting with it, and then I lost and I'm laying on the ground. So it's like those are like the two scenes.
Jesus, James. Guys, let us know if you want James back on the show or not.
Please, guys, please. I need you to rally. No.
Yeah, mine's the best one though. So
I don't know, man.
I mean,
Yours
yeah,
is
the
kinda-
second, I guess that makes his also the best one.
oh gosh.
I would have, if it weren't for my scene, it would have been yours. I would
Which
have
is
chosen yours.
But the other one, my backup one.
Shut up, James.
Okay, let me change it. When the portals start coming through.
No, you can't change.
No, I'm not changing it. I'm saying.
That's so. Wait, that's even closer.
But I
When
mean,
the portals come
it's
through?
Oh,
a
that is pretty
different
close.
scene.
That's literally within 5 seconds of
But
my scene.
it's not the time. It's like it's like the guy standing up fighting, or the guy was like he was fighting, and then like
No,
he gets,
Oh
James,
my
James,
God.
James, let me get this clear, okay? So you're saying,
It's
no,
like-
no, shh, no, you shut up, no, you did enough, you did enough.
It's like the before and after. Of,
No.
of Thanos is like punching him.
No. Okay, so what you're saying is that the at least 3 minutes of fighting that it separates the scene that Daniel mentioned with
So
the,
it's a
the-
three
the only-
minute scene, fair, but it's the same scene.
But then the
Jeez.
portal's coming through. The 2 second, 3 second difference between you seeing this huge cinematograph. I'm an idiot. I'm a fucking idiot. Whatever that word is. You know, just cool looking scene. And then he turns around. He says, "Roger that, brother, on your left," and then fucking
Do a
the portal
barrel
comes
roll.
out.
But at that point, it's a new scene because it's not about their fight; it's the army.
Okay,
You
I
are
see
being so
where
wrong.
he's
No,
coming from.
he has
I
no-
see where he's coming from, but it's
there's
not a
no
good
ground.
argument.
No.
It's not a good argument.
It's
It's
a
so
good
stupid
argument.
because
Okay.
it's one's fighting and the other one he's standing there.
Okay,
defeated.
we're done.
You're an idiot.
Do we have anything else that we need to add to this?
Please.
Do we have
don't
anything
go
else?
on. Holy smokes.
Any other final words about Endgame or pretty much all of MCU, really?
This is what a long, strange
I like
journey
it.
it's
I like
been.
it better after talking about it, for sure.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Yeah, I didn't really like it right off the bat. Like first showing.
Wait, was it just your first impression, or was it,
What?
was your first impression not good, or was your second?
My first impression was I didn't like it until like the Thanos fight scene. Like once they actually started fighting Thanos, but
Yeah,
everything
obviously.
before that I kind of hated. But the second viewing, I liked pretty much all of it. But I think it's just because there was no stress. I got to just sit back and know
Yeah.
what was happening, and I wasn't like waiting for something cool to happen. I knew when it was going to happen, so it was kind
Yeah.
of just like I can just relax through this
That's
like
what I-
character building.
This one was pretty
you know?
stressful. Like I was actually
Yeah.
sitting there stressed like the whole time because there were so many. I mean, it was a good movie. I was excited. It was gripping, and it never made me feel bored, which is why it was so short in my mind. But I don't know. I liked it. Great movie.
It's a good ending. It's for sure a good ending to everything.
Let's pose this question: which do you think you're gonna like better rewatching in like
Infinity War.
3 years?
Infinity War. For sure. Like I said earlier, I feel like it's a better whole movie.
I'm gonna disagree with you. I don't know. It's gonna.
Infinity
I think it
War.
go either way for me. I feel like.
I just want to stop crying about how sad they were.
That's true. Yeah. Actually, that's gonna tip the scale.
Oh, well,
Infinity
and
War.
that was one thing I thought after seeing it the first time too. It's like you're not. I don't see many people watching just Endgame in like 5 years.
You can't.
Like
You can't.
Yeah, if you just hadn't seen a Marvel movie for 5 years, well, I mean, they're obviously going to keep making them, but I mean, like, from Iron Man to now, if you don't watch any of those and you just sit down and watch Endgame, it'd be kind of weird.
It would be strange.
You're just like, wait a minute, you know.
Yeah, you remember all those things that happened that
Yeah.
are just totally not explained at all through context in the movie.
But yeah, I think Infinity War for sure. I mean, I still like I like Endgame way better now. I think it's a very good ending, like wrap up to this whole story.
It needed to be wrapped up, but it wasn't the best movie maybe on its own.
I think
It's
if
just
you
a
I
large
think
time
if you, I
commitment,
think if you
too.
take it into a scale, if you take in the scale of everything they've done and then put this, I think it's a very very good ending. But like I said, as
Yeah.
a picture movie, if you just picked it out of the
Especially
puzzle,
when you have a character that literally just can dissolve the universe right there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
anyone was really. I didn't know how they were gonna do it, and I'm surprised it worked out so clean.
you good with that?
Yeah, I feel like it's either I say yes or I say something that leads into another 20-minute discussion. So yes, I'm good with that.
I mean, it's probably just gonna be shutting you down because, and it's gonna take
Yeah.
20 minutes because
So
everything
it-
you say is dumb.
Yeah, I'll stick with yeah.
We had a 3-hour movie, and then a 2-hour talk. It was good.
3-hour talk almost.
We almost made it as long as the movie, boys.
We should make it like 3 hours and 12 minutes.
I'm not doing that. I'm done
And
now.
then you just watch the movie along with the podcast.
Yeah. Like director's cut, you know? Or not director's
And
cut,
you know,
but
we
director
cut
commentary.
we cut to spoiling the movie right at the beginning.
Yeah, we totally did.
Yeah. So, man, that scene was crazy. And it just shot Thanos' head off. Or no.
That was at the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, are we done?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay. If you guys want to let us know your thoughts, or if you agree or disagree with anything we said, which I'm shocked if you listen to this whole thing, you can email us and let us know at themidnightshowingpod@gmail.com. Our Twitter is @showingmidnight. Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube are all the same at The Midnight Showing. So let us know what you thought.
Yeah,
and if you liked it or not, if you like James on the show or
James,
not.
Yeah, James needs you to say yay or nay.
Yeah, he has a huge ego. He really needs to know.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you if you made it all this way.
Yeah.
Welcome
Thank
back,
you very
Baylus.
much.
We'll see if
Thanks,
you're
guys.
back for the next one if you're super busy
Be back.
again. Okay, thank you everyone. Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.